Hey everybody, Perfect Legend here. For those who are new to the channel, welcome. In this video, I'm going to be doing something that I haven't been doing and I should have done a while ago in terms of like just going over my fighting game history. Like you really don't want anybody else to tell your story for you. You want to tell your story and they can choose what's what, but I'm going to give it to you exact how it was. Literally, I was there. So I'm going to start before I even get into when I joined or was a part of the fighting game scene, but I've fighting games have been a part of my life since I was as young as like 2 or 3 years old. I started playing Street Fighter 2 at first at home console and stuff. I didn't play in the arcade at first, but it didn't take too long to start actually going to the arcade because when Mortal Kombat came out, I would have friends over to play. We would play everything we can get our hands on with it, if it was related to a fighting game. But then Mortal Kombat 2 came out, and I don't know, just something about that game. We were going to the arcade every day, and when I mean like like my dad would take me to the arcade twice a day. I would get out of kindergarten and go around like 11 o'clock in the morning or noon, and I would just like get games in, play whoever was there, and learn as much as I could. And then I would go home, and he would go to work, and while he was at work, I'm just doing whatever a kid would usually do, homework, or you're playing with your friends, playing games with your friends, whatever. But then at night, we would go back up to the same arcade. And at this point, obviously at night, the nightlife is popping. And in the 90s, everybody's on arcades. And the way that the arcade was set up, it wasn't really a regular arcade. It was like a barcade before people coined that term for barcades. But it was a family restaurant called Dominic's. And Dominic's had a big bar area, which was really like a long hallway type corridor. And it had games at on every side of the wall, there was a game. So there would be like two or three Mortal Kombat machines, and there would be like two Killer Instinct machines. And for those that don't know, I mean, of course, you should always have more setups, but I'm just giving to you that we would treat the machines like, all right, the good players on this machine and the bad players on that machine. It was kind of like an unwritten rule, but you could just tell, like, if somebody didn't know how to play, we wouldn't mess with them, or at least I wouldn't. And if someone knew how to play, you're more inclined to want to play against them because so you have good games and stuff. And then of course you have people who just want to play against the computer, but you can't do that. You're paying what 50 cents a game at the time to play. Anybody can play. So it's like, well, if you got the money and you put your money up, you play. And then you have the thing where you probably are too young to even know about this, but back then, how we would like choose who would go next, you would put your quarter up on the machine. So then, like, and you would remember where your quarter was. So, hey, when it's your turn, you get your stuff and then you go and put it in the machine and play. And that's how pay to play worked. And also, like, uh, what I would call a precursor of competitive gaming. This before tournaments and stuff. This is how we competed. It's like, all right, you're literally paying to play. So it's weird when I hear people talk about, oh yeah, we play these games to we're not paying to play. It's not competitive. It was definitely competitive. You're playing at the arcade. You have to play and continue winning just so you can keep playing, not have to pay money. But moving on, I played MK2, I played MK3, I played MK4, I played both Killer Instinct games. In my arcade, that's all we had. We didn't have Street Fighter. I would have to go to a different arcade for that, but this was pretty much what I was playing. So like my first MK2 experience was like on a different version, a revision of the game. That's what they used to call like the updated versions. They would call it a revision. In the revision that I played, Reptile had a fatality where he would lick their head, and the head would fly up into the air, and then he would stick his tongue out to grab it and then pull it back and then eat it. But then the next revision that I played, that was gone. It was no longer in the game. And since then, I mean, like, look, unless somebody got footage or something they could show me, but that definitely for sure happened or was in the game at one point. And then there was also a version of the game where Liu Kang could do his bicycle kick back behind itself. It could be like bicycle kick, then bicycle kick again. And if you played Mortal Kombat in the arcade, how Liu Kang's bicycle kick worked, you had to charge low kick for like 5 seconds. So it's like, how were they saving a charge with a charge? It didn't make sense. But ever since that day, I never saw it happen again after they like changed the boards and stuff. But yeah, the culture around just playing and going to play games was different. Well, it felt different to me back then, as opposed to how like there was a time period where everybody's like talking crap about who plays games or waste your time and stuff. But at that moment in that time, it seemed to me like it was encouraged. Everybody enjoyed doing it as a pastime and all that stuff. But I was frequently in the arcade every day learning different stuff. People would actually be selling move lists on like pieces of paper and stuff. So you would learn, because in our arcade we didn't have all the moves and stuff on the actual board like how they show it now. Like if you buy the Legacy Collection, they'll have the characters' move list that you're using on the side. And while they would have that at different arcades, they would literally have all the moves sometimes on different boards. On mines, it didn't. So like people would be monetizing off that by selling the special moves and everything to people. Like, hey, here are the fatalities. Here are this, and knowing that fatalities was a big deal back then because everybody didn't know how to do them, and then a lot of people didn't even see some of the fatalities because they just didn't know, and the information was kind of like very secretive back then. But it was still like really fun. I want to speed up to here. Okay, so during MK4, the most interesting thing to happen. I was playing this dude. I can't remember his name. I probably remember his face if I ever saw him, but he was my age then. Now, like basically, you got, I don't know, he could be in between 20, 30, 40 years old. I don't know, but I'm just saying he was an adult basically. And at the time, you can look at when MK4 came out and how old I was. I was born in '88, so you look at the time MK4 came out. I think it came out in '97. I was maybe 9, maybe 8. Had to check. And there was also early builds of the game that came out too. So before like the official release. So I don't know what version of the game I was playing, but I was definitely between 7 and 9 years old. But I was beating this dude so bad. I kept doing the Fujin throw, because my thing is I was looking for a character that made me feel as cool as I would feel when I played Cabal. Yes, I mean Cabal in arcade. And my thing about him, I liked his hook swords. I liked how fast he ran, and he just looked cool. I didn't really know he had like a respirator on and all that stuff. It just, back then you didn't care about story or anything like that. You just cared about how cool the character looked and how cool the character made you feel when you fought with him. At least that's how I looked at games and how I still look at games. But Fujin to me was the next best thing after Cabal at the time. And I kept doing this throw where he would spin you around and then throw you down or whatever, similar to Cabal throw. And this dude got so mad and was raging and was cursing at me and everything. It's like, dude, I'm a little kid. You're a grown man. So I did like any kid did. I went and told my dad about it, and my cousin was there at the time. And then they confronted the dude, and the dude was like, yeah, well, at first, no, wait. At first, I told him about it. He's like, all right, play now. I'll sit here and wait. And then dude started raging again. And so my dad's like, hey, this is a kid, man. You need to chill out. And then he was like, yeah, your kid's over here cheating and blah, blah, blah. My dad just knocks him out right there. And then dude was like, yeah, come outside. But dude could barely stand up. And he's talking about come outside. He's disoriented. He ends up leaving the place. He gets escorted out by a security that's there. And, you know, everything went cool. The next day, though, I show up. He's there. And apparently he apologizes to the owners and the managers, apologizes to my dad, apologizes to me. And guess what? We get back on MK4, and I just beat his ass for like an hour straight. And it's like, yeah, give me all your money. I mean, I'm not getting the money. It's going into the machine. But basically, that's what that was. So that was my first interaction with somebody who was raging in real life, basically. But between that time, like just being a kid, period, I played like every fighting game that I could get my hands on that was available. I even was importing fighting games. Most importantly, I was importing like the Dragon Ball fighting games, like Final Bout, Ultimate Battle 22, Dragon Ball Legends, just a bunch of games that at first weren't stateside. It took a couple years for them to finally release them, but those were, yeah, that was my whole thing. I would just import games and play them, and I would just try to play any fighting game with anybody. But it sucked back then because you would get too good, and then where your friends would want to play with you. So it was just like, all right, you're just fighting computer. So I took kind of like a break from fighting games and started playing games like Half-Life. And Half-Life had a bunch of different mod games like Air Special Forces, which was I'm trying to explain what it's not a fighting game. It's like, it's not a shooter either. It's like an air shooter in terms of the characters can fly around. It was like looking at Sparking Zero, except think of a like Armored Core or something, or like any like Star Fox. I know it's super crazy to say, but like the game played like a air shooter basically, but you could block, you could throw Kamehameha, there was melee attacks, you could teleport, you could transform, and the game was really fast, and the game skill was based on how you can navigate the hitbox and hit somebody in an angle. So say like if I'm blocking like this, you have to come around like that or come around like that to hit me past my block, and I have to basically like just kind of scan you so you can't hit me. But you could also do stuff where you can just teleport behind me and then hit me, and then you could do stuff where you could teleport and turn at the same time. But it's like all this took some type of dexterity and finesse to do, but it was a really fun game. That, as well as Star Wars Jedi Knight series, with Jedi Knight 2 in particularly, and the Jedi Academy game. Those games were super fun to me. The modifications that they were done, like the Jedi mod that came out, the movie mod that came out, and all the new models that people were brought out from the episode 1, episode 2, episode 3s, that the movies that came out, because at the time it was popular. So like that was a game people kind of gravitated to live out their being in what I would call a Star Wars mood. Like, hey, I feel like doing Star Wars stuff, so they will play that game. And then I'm going super off on this, but like I was also playing MMOs like Star Wars Galaxies. I also played City of Heroes. I played World of Warcraft at one point, but I'm just, one thing you might notice about me, I'm not too big on the medieval theme stuff. If it's from the medieval theme, I'm sorry, just the chainmail, the super heavy ass armor and stuff. How you supposed to fight in that? Like, I understand you can protect versus, but you like moving all clunky and stuff, and to me it's just not, it's not cool. The most medieval stuff that I like Siegfried from SoulCalibur. Like, to me, that's as far as I would go. I don't even really use Siegfried, and so I mean I know how to, but anyway. So I was playing all these games, and obviously getting older and stuff, and then I was I want to say 15 or 16, and during all this time I was like, I would be playing Dead or Alive with friends. Like, I did play Dead or Alive, as I told you. I was playing every fighting game around this time, even if people wouldn't play with me. But then, like, there are certain times where we would just get together with friends and we would just play whatever game that we got. And fighting games were the easiest to like just play. We played Naruto, Ninja Tyson. We played, of course, we tried to get you to play Dragon Ball games. But Dead or Alive became a recurring game for us, like nonstop. Like, hold on, let me put it on the screen. This game became recurring, like DOA 2, playing DOA 2 tag, playing DOA 3 tag. It was so much fun because we weren't studying the games to be competitive. This wasn't even like, I didn't even know how to be competitive in a sense. Like, and there's definitely a science to that. Like, once you understand what it takes to be a competitive player and what is focused on more, then you can't unsee it. It's really just knowing the science behind like the range and speed, what people can and can't react to when it comes down to like, because all right, back in the day, like Tom and Jop and EP used to make fun of me because I was like, yeah, I can react to 10 frames. Nobody can react to 10 frames. And what's 10 frames? Like a jab in this game. Like, if you see somebody do a punch, that's 10 frames just about. Like, you see Zach just did a jab, you're not reacting to that. You're reacting to the range of where it might happen and the timing of where it might happen. But you're not visually seeing the animation saying, oh, I'm doing this now. That means you can react to bullets. And you can't react to bullets. Nobody can. We only can react to somebody going like this. And then you see them do that and you're like, oh my God, let me move out the way. But that is, yeah. So we were playing DOA, and the whole thing about DOA, and I'm going back to where I was talking about how we were all about seeing how to just pick a cool character and do cool stuff. And in DOA, we weren't studying a game or anything like that. So when we would play it, that's the only time we would see certain moves. So like, we'll do something, and it's like, wow, we're discovering a brand new move, a brand new animation every day. That's how I felt playing the game, and the game still like holds up from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 all the way up to 6. And I got real like, now I don't want to say obsessed, but like I just got used to going online in the habit and just finding people to play with, or trying to find people to play with or be good at the game. When DOA 2 Ultimate came out, that's when like we started to finally get off online games, well, online fighting games. Like Mortal Kombat Deception came out, and that was one of the first online fighting games too. And what I would do in DOA 2 Ultimate, because going online, I started meeting different people. Shout out to Blackula. I always shout out Blackula. Blackula from Virginia. He's a Tekken and Virtua Fighter player. He also plays Mortal Kombat, also plays DOA. And I ran into him online. And he was like, hey, you should start going to DOA Central. And I was like, huh? Okay. And I wrote it down. And I went to the website and I saw that there was all these people that also played Dead or Alive, and basically Dead or Alive enthusiasts. Like, people were competitive about it. I went down the rabbit hole. I found all the like footage, the 3-kick man. There was a player that played Hayabusa in the tournament. All he did was Hayabusa's jump kicks. That it's like it looks like doing a Tatsu with Ryu, but in for those that know, it's the Hurricane kick. And I loved animations like that, so I was like, oh, that was tight. And then I also saw the cartwheel match. I found like other tournament matches, and then I went to IGN, which I was already going to, but I didn't know that about Evolution Championships, and they had a whole section on IGN highlighting Evo 2003 and Evo 2004. And at this time was when I'm finding out all this was 2005, like I want to say late 2004, early 2005. That's when I started seeing all this stuff. And they had every top 8 for each game, and then they also had the Evo 2004 trailer, which was a big inspiration for me to want to go to tournaments. Well, actually, to go to Evo specifically, because I wanted to try to like do something cool on stage and make it into the highlight reel, but pretty much. And it's not like, oh, I'm just going to go up there and just try out this. It's like I want to play well and for it to be highlighted. And I mean, long story short, I did go to Evo. The only year that DOA 4 was there as an official event, and I won that. But all the footage that is in the the Evo 2006 DVD trailer, it's all me doing something. It's me when they straight up highlight my Hayate versus DOA Masters Hayabusa, and then also me using Genfu versus High Guys Leifang. Those are the 2 highlights for sure that I'm in. But yeah, like I just started getting my feet wet with the fighting game community. I initially had no intentions or wasn't even thinking about becoming like a top player or anything like that, or becoming good. I just genuinely enjoy fighting games and just the experience of people being around to play fighting games. I guess I was trying to relive how I felt in the arcade, because like arcade would fill up, everybody's playing Mortal Kombat, everybody's playing Killer Instinct, people were just interacting, having a good time with each other, and it was just good times. Like I don't think anybody really cared about being good. There was this one time though where I was waiting for this dude to lose on Killer Instinct so I could finally play, and I didn't want to play with him because he was just like cooking me. He was like playing with Spinal, and the way he would do it with Spinal, he would do jump back heavy punch, and Spinal had this sword that he would do at long range, and I didn't know how to stop it at the time. I was a scrub too. All I knew how to do was, all right, do my special move, then come in and do my combo, and that's it. I didn't understand how to like beat or outthink or outmaneuver an opponent who's playing stupid like that, which, you know, later on you learn how to do it. But yeah, it was it was really annoying. So I'll tell you what happened. So as he's about to lose, right, I put my quarters up to save himself. This is what he does. He takes the quarters, puts them in, press start on my side. So then I have to fight him, and he has another chance to, because he knew he was going to beat me, and he beat me. And then after he beat me, he had another chance to fight the computer. I was so hot about that. I've never seen this dude again. I wish I could play him in a game now, because I would cook him, just off principle, because that was annoying as heck. But yeah, like, so back to what I was doing with DOA. So with the whole recreating the arcade experience, I started doing online tournaments. This is before anybody was doing online tournaments. This is what I would do. I would use that. So on the original Xbox, you could set up a chat which would hold like maybe 20 to 30 people. So I would get everybody that's online, like, hey, y'all want to do a tournament? And they'd be like, yeah, sure. So then I would get everybody to come to the Xbox Live dashboard chat. And that is how I would like organize and give people their matches, and also track the tournament. I'm like, all right, go play your match, then come back and report to me who won and stuff. Because at the time, like, we could record matches. Like, I could definitely join the lobby and watch and record it and all that stuff, which I did do at different times. But early on, I wasn't thinking to do that. So I would just be like, all right, report the score to me or whatever. And then I think we would like have them watch the finals or something maybe. But it was yeah, that was really fun. But I did that for a grip, and then the moment that I decided I wanted to be good, people started talking crap to me. I'm like, dude, I'm hosting tournament. You're talking. I'm like, all right. So that is the moment where I started trying to actually be good. I didn't know what I was doing for sure, but some people helped me along the way. Like Dr. Dog was one of the first people. Suzy was one of the first people. Because Suzy, I would see how he would play Kasumi, and we was Kasumi players, and I would take strategies from him. At the time, he probably took strategies from me too. I don't know. Dr. Dog, he showed me how to play with Helena, like all her best moves that you should use and what you should be going for. So that started my first foundation of making a game plan for that game. But it wasn't until like, because I could get wins here and there, but I felt like I had to Hail Mary so much to beat people, like where you just forget it. I'm just going to try really hard to hit them or whatever, and you win, but it's not something where you can trace back like, well, I did this and I did that and this happened. So it wasn't until like I met Tom and started talking to Tom Brady about frame data, because we had all that back then. We had the frame data, the combos, all that stuff, but the information was kind of like scarce. But he had played in the arcade, so he knew all that stuff. So he was like telling me everything. Like at first I started playing Jan Lee and Jan Lee and Iron at first. I started learning Genfu later when I played DOA 3, but at first I started with them. Of course, I still had Kasumi, so like what I was learning at the time still helped with Kasumi, but I didn't like start peaking in DOA 2 until like that summer, where so I'm going too far, but so what happened, Tom didn't want to play DOA 2 anymore because he played so much DOA 2 in the arcade. Despite Ultimate being how it was still DOA 2 with just Hitomi now, and some new stages and more polish, and you don't have to hold the free button to move. In DOA 2 arcade, you had to use the free button, which is, I guess that's why they use it and called it free, because it freed you up and allowed you to do free step dodge and all that around the screen. Basically the same 8-way movement you have in SoulCalibur, it gave you that option for DOA. So I understand why you didn't want to play the game, because DOA 3 was more like an updated move list. Character had more moves. Now in that game, falls would kill, because in DOA 2 you could knock somebody off a cliff or down the stairs or whatever, and they wouldn't die. They still could get up and play neutral again. And also the wall game was a little bit more sophisticated, where you can hit somebody into the wall, relaunch them, get more damage, and then you could tech off the wall. There was all this like different stuff that was evolved from DOA 2 to DOA 3, so I could understand why. And once I started getting DOA 3, I saw for sure like how good the game was and how fun it was, and it was like going from, and a lot of people probably be like, oh, that sounds whack, but you know how Tekken is today and how it goes to Tekken 8 and every character's got like plus frames and big damage and all that stuff. It was like that from DOA regular 3, which was a USA release, to DOA 3.1, which is a Japanese release, and also like 3.2, which is a Europe release. They gave characters more frame advantage, more combo routes, more damage. Um, it was just like there was a more working sidestep system to where like moves would not track and you had to like realign yourself to hit somebody. It was cool because like you couldn't, before in DOA 2, everything kind of just tracks other than jump moves or move that's really slow. So just introducing that next level of the meta on top of what was already established there with the hold system, high hold, mid hold. But in DOA 3, they rolled it back a little bit from DOA 2 because DOA 2 had a 4-direction hold system to where you had to do forward, up, back, forward, down, back, or back, forward to hold. And respectively, you got the high hold, which is forward, up, back, the mid punch hold, which is forward, back, and the low hold, which is forward, down, back. And then you got the mid kick hold, which is back, forward. But in DOA 3, they took it back to, it's still a 3-point hold system, but it's one direction. So it's just up, back for highs, back for mids, down, back for lows. And that, despite like people probably, oh, well, doesn't that make it more simple? Yeah, but the hold didn't do as much damage as it did in DOA 2. To give you a number, so if you look at the Azuna drop by Hayabusa, his Azuna did 112 points and on high counter hold, but in DOA 3 it did 90 points, and in DOA 4 it went back to 112 points, and then also inside the stun they changed up how much damage you could get. So like if you held outside the stun and you got the high counter, you get the full 112 points. But inside the stun, it will go back to like 90. Like they nerfed it down. So, or was it, did they do that like so here's where I kind of get like hazy because DOA 5 did something similar. So I can't remember if the damage changes inside, outside the stun, or just in 4, or just in 5, or in both. So I don't want to like, of course we could revisit that and whatever, but I know myself, I know one of them is the way that I said it is. But yeah, like DOA 3, I was trying to get people to play it. And how was people going to play this game? Because you obviously have to have a Europe Xbox or a Japanese Xbox, but no, original Xbox was so good of a console, you could actually soft mod it to where it would play games from different regions. And people was super soft modding the Xbox and getting extra hard drives where they would put more games on it and play emulators and stuff. It was a crazy system actually, but I would just soft mod people system for like $20 and then give them DOA 3.1 so then they could play it. And I was going around the country like traveling. That's really one of the inspirations for me to travel. Is like I wanted people to I want the game to grow and have a better competitive scene, but a little bit of me wanting to flex, hey, I'm good at the game too now, and also like just hosting stuff because I want the game to grow. It kind of conflicted because then my tournament organizing kind of took a back burner for my competitive stuff. Despite me still hosting tournaments, I held Ohio Fighting Game Classic, Brawl in the Pool Hall. We also had Ohio Showdown. These are all like DOA major tournaments. And then inspired the Dead or Alive in Dallas tournament because we had tournament in Texas. I'm sorry, tournament. Tekken in Texas was the name of the tournament, but they also rebranded to tournament in Texas because they will have more tournaments. But taking from that idea, that's where Dead or Alive in Dallas comes from. And then we had also DOA Tech, which was like our our evolution replacement tournament because that year the year after the year that DOA was at Evo, they didn't have it there again. So we did our own thing because we were still hungry for competition, and we also had World Cyber Games. I know I'm going super far ahead. Let me drive it back. So um now we got people playing DOA 3.1 and also still playing DOA 2 Ultimate. So this is a moment where the scene can kind of grow and start flourishing. So we held the games at like V Time again at tournament in Texas. My first major tournament was driving to tournament in Texas on a Greyhound bus, 24 hours there, 24 hours. Well, I'm sorry, wait. I think it was 12 hours there, 12 hours back. It might be 24 hours there, 24 hours back. I can't remember. It was a long bus ride. Regardless, I did it and went out there, played in my first major DOA tournament versus Tom in the grand finals in DOA 3. I played against Demon in the grand finals of DOA 2 singles and DOA 2 tag. I got second in both of them. And before that, we did I held Ohio Fight Game Classic, which is where like at the time everybody in the Midwest showed up, like in that region. Like okay, so in Ohio we got Pennsylvania, Kentucky, Michigan, Illinois, all around that area, Indiana. All these guys are showing up for different games. I had DOA there, DOA 2 and 3. We also had actually no, we didn't have DOA 2. We ended up just having 3. I think we didn't have enough for Ultimate. Or it probably happened, but I didn't play in it. I'm just letting you know. We still had Third Strike. We had CVS 2 there. Um, we had Guilty Gear there as well. And I don't think Super Turbo was there, but a lot of people showed up to play more than just for DOA as well. So it was cool hosting my first like successful regional tournament or major tournament. Wherever you know, actually they call everything a major now. So hosting my first successful major tournament, that was fun, especially after doing like all the online stuff. And I was still doing online stuff because we ended up hosting a final like online DOA ultimate tournament before DOA 4 came out, and that was cool. But there was so much going on. We had online clan battles, online like exhibitions and tournaments and stuff. Just like the scene for DOA was definitely flourishing. So like all that talk where people was like, "Oh, this game is scrubby and blah blah blah," it didn't do anything to what we were like. We were flourishing and enjoying the game. Nobody was thinking about the game like that. It wasn't until we started going to fight game tournaments, like major tournaments that was held by other people, where we would kind of get like backlash. Oh, this game is scrubby. This game's got titties and ass. Well, actually, most characters ain't really got ass like that, but you know they got titties and sexualization, all that nonsense. I didn't care about that. I liked the fighting and stuff, the system, how cool the animations looked. The game looked like a dang a movie that you watch, a kung fu movie. So I was all about that. And the I went to V Time too. I got second place and 3.1. I'm not gonna go through the whole list of terms I went through, but it was still like I want to say we was like getting respect or anything, but it's like we didn't respect each other in the middle of the tournaments because there was so much beef and nonsense like between me and Master at the time and other people because it was a whole thing of where I could win a major tournament and they would act like it didn't happen, but they would over highlight him winning like an invitational tournament or something, not even playing against like people who could even beat him for real. And this all went into like leading up to our final or our first like big showdown, which was at Evo. Actually, I mean, the footage that you see behind me, this is the Evo 2006 DOA 4 top 8. This is actually me versus Just Own It. And Just Own It was actually one of the first people to travel to me to play DOA 3. He actually came out here. His dad and his mom drove him out, and they got a hotel like down the street somewhere close to me. And Just Own It was here for like 2 days. We just played a lot of DOA. We played CVS2. We played a bunch of fighting games. So like it was my uh it was my first interaction with like the offline scene, like just taking that bus with the champ and demon down there. That was a whole fun experience. Just being able to get the view of the country at the time and stuff. It was cool, but never again. I'm never getting into taking a bus like that again. It's a flight for me, or I'm going to drive. I mean, the reason we took a bus, I was 16, 17. I hadn't got my. I mean, at 16 years, you should get your license, but I hadn't like put the work in to get it yet. I ended up just going to go do it after this, by the way, because I was just tired of being chaperoned around or anything like that. But dude, DOA was so fun, but it was also so like annoying at the time because it's like here I am winning all the major tournaments, proving myself, just to be told, oh no, you're not the best player, even though you're beating all the best players, and no, it's actually this guy because we just feel like that and we feel that way. And it was a lot of like not politics in terms of oh well I'm doing this because you're like that. It's more so like politics in terms of hey, I'm just for this guy because this guy's my boy and I don't care about being fair. I just care about supporting my boy. It was a lot of that going on in the scene. And it's annoying because me, I'm a very fair person. I don't care like about any preconceived nonsense. It's like, all right, what is the right thing to do? And we would have websites like GotFrag, which was a big esports site where and back then they wouldn't acknowledge fighting games as esports. To them, esports was just Counter Strike or StarCraft. That's it. They didn't want to acknowledge no other games, and also Quake. That's it. They be like, oh, what's this button masher over here? So, and to me, that's like a very it was a very like we're cooler than you type thing, or you're not as uh your value isn't as much because of whatever. And it never made sense to me how esports owners were like, you know what? You know what's cost effective? Paying 5 flights and 5 entries and 5 hotels for 5 different players. But for one fighting game player, I don't know if I could do that. It just didn't make any sense to me economically. And I just felt like everybody was involved was kind of dumb for that. It didn't make any sense to me. But it was a lot of gatekeeping basically for any fighting game player to try to get something or do anything. And it's like you had to constantly tie yourself to those games just to get like notoriety. But then, shoot, I would be on a team. They wouldn't even have me a picture of me on a website. I'd be a dang silhouette on there. It's all this perfect legend is silhouette, and it's like what? So, but yeah, like Dead or Alive was a lot of like blending the esports and the grassroots, and this is one of the situations where grassroots was better despite like we would actually get the money and put it up like that. We would have good pop bonuses where it's like here's $1,000 pop bonus guaranteed, 600 for first place or whatever, 300 for second, 100 for first third, and or we put up $2,000 whatever it was. And back then it was worth the flight, it was worth the trip because just navigating the country costs less, like hotels cost less. You know how a hotel now would be like, all right, on the weekend we charge you $200 for Friday. That $200 would be $100, and those other days would be like $50. So you're like, dang, I can kind of at least break even, or you could come out with a profit. Like you could do with the Justin Wong, where you pull up with a, a clipboard and a piece of paper of money matches. Like, all right, who wants to money match me in this? And he would write, and so like there would be threads on Sure You Can of not just Justin but other players too. But they were like, all right, who I'm going to this tournament, who wants to play a money match? And then you would get a list of money matches up together, and then you go play them, and that's also a part of how people was making their income like that because there was no streaming, there was no uploading. It was super hard to get footage and upload it back then. Like you had to record it on VHS and then convert it from VHS to whatever file so then you could watch it. And that was a pain in the ass. Same thing, even if you got the DVD, you had to still do all that. And the conversion process was not easy back then, nor was like recording stuff easy back then. So you had to literally take a camcorder or all that stuff. So props to everybody who was doing that. Somebody for sure, like in the Marvel 2 scene, Preppy, he did so much work for the scene for Marvel 2 back then with recording and getting footage up. But I'm getting super ahead. I just want to get everything out there without forgetting stuff. And as it comes in my head, I'm gonna just tell you as I still ride through the different eras and stuff. But with Dead or Alive, after Evolution dropped Dead or Alive from the list, and I guess it was because of entrance or whatever. So back then, the highest entrant game was Third Strike, and I believe it had 350 people. Okay, so that's the most entrant game at Evolution. And right behind that was Marvel 2. And I want to say it was Street Fighter 2 that was after that. And then it's like in their gray area between Tekken and Dead or Alive. Dead or Alive I know had like 100 people at that tournament. And I can't remember what Tekken had. It could probably had the same amount. Might have 200, something like that. But it wasn't enough for them to want to bring it back, or because they didn't like it at the time. I remember literally going to Mr. Wizard and asking him in the lobby, and I was like, "Hey man, are you going to bring DOA back next year?" And he was like, "We'll see." And he gave me a little smirky. Oh, we'll see. The little smirk he usually does. But obviously, what 2025, 19 years later, yeah, DOA has never been back as an official game. So I was pretty bummed about that, but we still had World Cyber Games, and then at this time, Championship Gaming Series started becoming a thing. And I went to one of the invitationals for a Championship Gaming Series. I didn't go to the first invitational, which was just like Master, Vanessa, I think Mystic. No, Vanessa wasn't there. Oops, no. It was Master, Mystic, Kasumi Chan, Swoozy, Cyber Evil, King, I think I might have said Master already. There's a player I'm leaving out. I'm sorry, person. You're not forgettable. I just forgot. I have to think about it, and I haven't thought about it too long. But um, yeah, like they Master won $10,000 beating Kasumi Chan in the grand finals for that. So you got a base of 8-player invitational, and they're paying out 10K for first, 5K for second. And I'm at Evo East, by the way, trying to qualify. Or actually, I need to go there to qualify, but I just went there because I mean, like, it is a tournament. I'm showing up, and I went to Evo East. So what happened that summer? I went to Tom's house and stayed with him in Virginia because like it would have been easier and least better cost effectiveness to go and stay on the East Coast. And then it's funny that I'm saying this because I'm gonna bring this back up later as far as like being on the East Coast and cost effective like travel. But I went to the East Coast for cost effective travel and stayed with Tom in Richmond, Virginia. And I went to Evo East. I went to East Coast Championships, which is now East Coast Throwdown. I also went to V Time 2, or sorry, V Time 3, which him and Jim Master held, and then went to Evo Finals. The agreement was like Tom was like, all right, come practice with me and grind because he didn't want to play online and stuff. And what better practice than us playing against each other at the time? So I was like, sure, fuck it, whatever. I already been coming to your house and like practicing anyway. We was doing that in DOA3. I already went to his house twice during DOA3. So I was like, shoot, I'll come sit out there. And we just grinded the whole weekend. But the agreement was like, hey, we will go to Evo East and Evo, all that stuff. But when it was time to go to Evo East, Tom was nowhere to be found for some reason. He like left me and Jim Master at the house, and me and Jim Master like, dude, what the fuck? Where's Tom at? We need to be driving to Connecticut right now, or we're gonna miss the tournament. So Jim Master was like, hey, we're going to get on the Chinatown Fair bus and go up there and get there. So we went to Chinatown Fair, and this was like super last minute decision. This was our only chance to get there. We didn't get on there. I wouldn't have went to the tournament. So got on the bus. The bus was 8 hours from Richmond to New York, and then once we got to New York, we had to take the trains in New York to get to Connecticut. And then just as we are entering the room for the tournament, all right, guys, Dead or Alive signups are closed. It's like, what? We just got here. So, I mean, we got in the tournament, of course, and stuff because we just happened to walk through the door at the time. And also, for those that don't know, Evo East took place in the same building East Coast Throwdown took place in. Like the most recent East Coast Throwdown, it's the same building. And this is also kind of where I like run into some players that I've never seen. Like Yipes. Yipes scared to shout at me and it was only because he said something really loud. So like he's like all in like in yipes mode, I want to call it, right? Ready to play. Got his glove on and everything. It's my first time seeing him in person, and he's walking around. And then as he's walking past me, he's like, "Let's get this money," and I'm like, "The fuck?" Scared the shot of me. Like I'm like, okay, all right. So of course, like the I locked in at that point. I mean, I don't have to play Yipes and anything, but I don't know, it startled me. And I entered Tekken and also Evo. I mean, I'm sorry, DOA. Um, in this Tekken tournament, I actually run into Spirogen. I'm beating people in my Tekken pool and stuff. Also at this time, despite like, yeah, I'm playing DOA. I'm playing every fighting game that's like on the circuit. I play Marvel 2, I play Super Turbo, I play CVS 2, Third Strike, Tekken, and Virtua Fighter. Whether I'm like good at them or not, I'm still just playing them to learn them because it was just super fun to learn and see this this world, because like coming from being a casual fight game player and then you're just pressing buttons and doing stuff, you know, based on feel or whatever, and then you see like people playing at a high level, the difference in it is just it's so cool. It's like the difference between, wow, you just learn how to do a cartwheel, right? But then you see somebody do a backflip and you're like, wow. And you remember how back in the day, well, if you were from the 90s and you would go outside, people were playing and somebody's doing like acrobatics and stuff, you're like so it to me it was so cool. So maybe you don't have the share experience, but it was so cool to me. So it was like that. It's like, wow, you get to see the mastery behind stuff, and it just looked like it feels cool to do that. So I just started learning everything, just to learn the whole history behind stuff. Because yeah, while I'm a person that's living and breathing, I didn't know this whole world existed. So I decided to just like engage myself in it. But I ran into Spirogen in the Tekken tournament in Tekken 5, and this is my first time playing him. And as you know, Spirogen is one of the most accomplished like Tekken players, especially playing Paul and Eddie. And I was able to beat him off of his Paul. So he picked Eddie on me and like cooked me. But I had like a grudge against him for so long. Well, it really wasn't against him. It was against Eddie players, because for a long time, from then 2006 to like I want to say uh Tekken 7, I had a grudge against Eddie players because I could never figure out how to beat them. And for those that don't know, like for a long time, Tekken did not have the best training mode. You couldn't even tell frame data. The way you would tell is that the character will light up a certain shade of blue, and depending on how long they're blue, will determine how much of a disadvantage or advantage they are. So it was really difficult to learn that game and get to level I wanted to get to. And I even like going and playing with like Jop and EP and all those guys, and learn from Tom and Jim Master and like Gen Kids watching footage and stuff. It was still a pain in the ass just to figure it out, but I would just emulate what I would see, but I didn't know what I was doing. I would just learn how to wave dash and electric and stuff, but applying it in the match to like beat somebody, it was just like, all right, I don't understand yet, but I know how to do this stuff. So it's like kind of you learn how to do this thing, and then you match it up to do this thing. But I learned how to do that like later on. But I was able to get wins on people because I would also abuse the cheap stuff, like Deviljin's back one into his electric when God Fist was annoying to deal with because you got hit by the back one, it would combo into electric. So you have a safe mid launcher basically that can get you to like 60%. So it was crazy. But yeah, this Evo East, man, I ran the gauntlet, all the best East Coast players. This is where I met Escaping Jail, High Guy, Shad and Hell Shadow showed up as well. Rakuto was there, and Sora was there. Everybody was there. That was like Virtual Pie was there. Everybody that was there for DOA and was all about DOA was there. I think Yoga Legend also showed up, but it was a lot of people that came out in support for DOA. So as I was saying earlier, the DOA scene was growing for offlines and stuff, and it was just like once we kind of got like all this stuff, like all right, the game dies, the Itagaki went away, they you know fired him and stuff. It was hard for the game for a bit, but I won Evo East, and then at some blue, I won Evo East. I hear about Championship Gaming Invitational and how much money DOA Master won. It's like, oh, no wonder he's not here because he knew about this event. And it's like, dang, how do y'all know about all these events that's paying out all this money, and we only find about it as they're happening or after it happens? So somebody is talking to somebody, you know what I'm saying? So I don't go along with that whole we scoured the internet and these are the players we found. How do you scour the internet and not see me on there when I'm basically constantly have a presence for this game online, like running tournaments, online and offline, traveling tournaments, offline, teaching people, showing people the game, soft modding Xbox boxes and stuff. There was so much that I was doing, and I don't know. Clearly, there was gatekeeping going on because some people didn't want to have to deal with playing against certain people. So that's what that is. But um, so Evolution finals finally happens, like the world tournament. We show up, dude. Going to that tournament, I was sick as heck, man. Like I got like you know how you open the window up. Like what happened is one of Tom's friends, while I was asleep, came into my room, opened the window up all the way like this, and it was a cold night. And I woke up the next day sick as hell. I sore throat, sniffling, coughing, everything. But I'm still in Virginia, so like, and we're supposed to get on the flight soon. So I go to the tournament, get on the flight with Tom, and do everybody that was in that basically would come to his house. Everybody was staying in the same room. I did not expect that. I didn't know it was gonna be like 10 of us in the same room, and while everybody else is out like hanging out and stuff, I'm just taking meds and like trying to rest up as much as I can so I can play. Dude, I was so salty to be sick before Evolution. So like it even carried into the first day of the tournament. So like even because I won Evo East, I was seeded, but the seeding how it worked back then, they would put you in a certain part of the bracket where you don't have to play until then. Because I already won at Evo East, I was basically expedited into a certain part of the bracket. So when I had to play, uh, man, I was feeling so bad, but I lost to Black Mamba. Black Mamba actually put me in losers with Lei Fang. I was trying to use Jan Lee, and it just wasn't working out. Not only is that a bad match for Lei Fang because like I can't do mid kicks, and her mid kick hole gives her so much versus Jan Lee, and also she can kind of challenge him really well on his range. So I couldn't really take advantage of that to fight her. So he beat my Jan Lee, put me in losers, and then like I had to go through a crazy losers run with Genfu beating people. I actually almost lose to Gym Master. Gym Master's talking shit to me after I beat him. And I'm like, dude, I just don't feel well. But I don't know why you're talking shit to me because we basically like been staying together this whole summer. But you want to like, I don't know. He was being a total jerk, honestly, because he was a big part of the I don't respect DOA. I only respect Tekken group. And there was a lot of people like that. But I beat him and eliminated him because we were both in losers. But I'm starting top 8 in losers and with the flu, by the way. That night, um, we go to Rakudo's room, who has a room at the event hotel, and everybody's in there just chilling and stuff. I'm actually still trying to rest and sleep and stuff. And then Master comes in the room. He's like, "Hey, y'all, we're about to go back to Luxor." So a little context because I didn't explain this earlier. Master was staying at the Luxor with me, not in the same room, but we all had got rooms at the Luxor because I guess it was cheaper. And he was like, "Yeah, let's all go back." I'm like, "I don't need to go back with you. I'm not staying in the same room with you. I don't even need to be here for this. You could just go back." He's like, "No, come on, let's go." So I get up. I'm like, "All right," and I'm coming down the elevator with the escalator with them, and I'm kind of complaining and stuff. But and I'm like, dude, I don't need like, but rightfully so. I'm sick. I don't feel good. What am I? And it's pointless for me to be around for this. So then he was like, all right, let's go. And but then as we're coming down the escalator, and I'm still like saying stuff, and oh no, this is what happens. Gym Master says, I actually don't need to to be in this car ride. I could have stayed upstairs. I'm like, see, why am I doing? And the master's like, shut the fuck up. He's telling me to shut the fuck up constantly. And I'm like, look, man, if you don't stop telling me to shut the fuck up by the time we get to the end of this escalator, I'm gonna slap you. And I mean, it ends up happening. I slap him. he swings and slaps me back. I don't know if he hit me, but I'm just saying he retaliated. And then like the people with us spread us apart and stuff, and they go to the event and everything. I mean, go back to Luxor, and me, I just stay back and go back up to the room or whatever. But then I get my stuff to leave, and I come back, and me and Gym Master have words. When he comes back, he's like, and I was like, you know what, fuck you, man. I just go, and this is what I do. So Just Onin was with me, and he actually leaves with me to go back, and we're just like, I don't even know how this even. I can't remember how this happened, but we ended up staying with Afro Cole, and I knew Cole from talking to him online, and obviously he's the Evo champion too. So we have like some rapport. I mean, I'm not Evo champion at this point, but I'm just saying like listen things that he's doing. Like I know him, and I know he's a champion, and he's been playing like a lot of DOA and stuff, and we kind of interacted earlier on. So I ran into him, or I talked to him or something about it. I forgot how this happened, but I ended up like we just give him some money so we can stay in the hotel for that night and stuff. But the next day, don't have to play because I'm not in anything. Like Tekken and DOA was the first day of the tournament on Friday. Saturday was I think all the 2D games, so I had like a free day and stuff. Ended up finally going back to the room and like showering and all that stuff, like at the Luxor or whatever. And it was just a cool day. But on that Sunday when we had to play, um, everybody, me and Master still have not like talking or anything, and everybody else is like separated. So me, I'm just off doing my own thing, listening to music. I'm actually listening to my iPad, or no, my iPod. Well, no, it was one of those older iPods. I think it had a different name, but anyway, um, the tournament goes by. We eventually get to the later stages. It's the grand finals. Now it's me versus Master, and we had that interaction we had the days before, right? So I go up to him, I'm like, "Hey, man, hey, let's just put this behind us." I try to shake his hand. He was like, "Nah," and I'm like, "All right." That pissed me off because I tried to like go like be the bigger person and make things better. So I was like, "Man, I'm about to beat the shit out of this man in this bracket." So I do exactly that. I beat the shit out of this. The first set was 3-1. The second set was 3-2. I mean, this is the set playing right here. This might be me versus King or me versus him. But the only high boost players I fought were him and King in that tournament. But the second set was 3-2. But I tried to, and this is risky. I lost the game and went to Hayabusa because I wanted to beat him with his own character to try and embarrass him. Or just be like, yeah, I'm the best Hayabusa player. I was all about having something else to talk shit with. But he beat my Hayabusa. My Hayabusa was, I ain't gonna lie, was kind of rusty because I did win ECC with Hayabusa, but I hadn't been playing with him. I had been practicing a lot of Genfu, a lot of Jan Lee. And what's funny is that like Hayate was my Hail Mary pick of this tournament. Cause I was like, dude, I don't know, I don't have a good way to hit Hayate. I mean, hit Hayabusa. He's like, it felt like I had to extend so much to get close to him, but Hayate had moves to let me get in like fast enough and get in close enough too. So I'm leaving out this context. That Thursday night when we all get there, everybody meets up at Masters. No, not Masters. Somebody else's hotel. I forget hotel it was, but it was like off the strip. Actually, I think it was in the second strip. I just remember it being like the old strip where everything looks like hella old from the 60s or 70s or whatever before we got to the hotel. And everybody was playing sets. Master beat me. And then also that same night, we went to Rakudo's room and I did better with Genfu. Janli was getting cooked though. But then I started trying Hayate a little bit, and I was doing much better with Hayate. But I was just doing DOA 3 stuff, but with like a DOA 4 twist to it. But I was just doing his DOA 3 strategies and habits that I already practiced. And also a lot of like, fuck it, I'm just going to do this. And if it don't work, it don't work. If it work, it worked. And that was my mind game. It's like, well, damn, is he going to finish this or not? But I also still use my fundamentals of just playing DOA to win as well. But at that tournament or before that, I wasn't picking Hayate at all. I was picking Janli Genfu, and Hayate was just like, hey, I just felt it. I was like, you know what? These characters might lose this matchup, but Hayate does it better. Well, he loses a little bit hard. It's not as hard because Genfu, while he can outspeed Hayabusa, Genfu was short in range and very predictable, and like everything's a punch basically. Like you can play a way to where you can beat Hayabusa, but it's so risky because like you, if they're good at with the Azuna punch hold, you're about to lose 50% just about if they do it right. But yeah, after I won this tournament, uh, it was a great feeling because like everybody was like, oh, you're not good at the game, and you know why are you complaining about what happened at CGS? You wasn't even there, or you wouldn't have done anything. It's like, dude, get out of here. And then this started like, even though I was winning tournaments, it started a bigger streak of like confidence because then I saw that like, hey, I literally am the best player now. All I have to do is carry that confidence in everything I do with the game, or just period. And yeah, like, but I was still not getting the props or anything because I had to deal with people hating from the fighting game community and people hating from the DOA community. There are people who was mad that they weren't the best Hayate player, or they weren't the best Jan Lee, or the best Genfu, or the best player period. And then um, when they got rid of DOA at Evo, we only had World Cyber Games and Championship Gaming Series. So after Evo, we had a couple turns, but Championship Gaming Series was the most significant one in terms of like, I guess, the notoriety and stuff. Um, it sucks because at this tournament they was really in cahoots with like production and stuff, like having, there ain't no coincidence for you to pick that stage for us to play on the bridge. And let me see if I can, if the bridge stage is on here, that they show it. I think, yeah, this stage right here, when you start at the beginning, I'm gonna just explain this right now. So you see how you're on the bridge right here. This is where you start the stage. Anytime you're on the stage, you always start here. On Championship Gaming Series rules, they messed up stuff to where it was 1 round, 5 matches. So what that means is each round is like, it's a brand new match again. So instead of like, if there's, you see there's 3 bubbles for 3 rounds, and you get knocked off this stage, you're on the bottom of the stage for the rest of the rounds. You don't go back up to the start. But in CGS rules, you go back up to the start. So what they had is they had me versus King on this bridge, and every match or round started back up at the top. So you get access to 80, 70, 80% Azuna drop from a grab or a punches or a punch hold. And in the first round, the game glitched to where, all right, so you see how we're like this, and he knocks me off with his grab. So imagine the grab doesn't knock me off. Instead, the grab for some reason knocks me off, but back onto the bridge. What this does is it makes the game think that I'm still in animation where I'm falling. So anything I do doesn't even do anything. All I can do is block. Okay, versus King, because that happened. Now, if I do any moves, like if I attack you or something, now this, I'm only speaking on this because this glitch has happened twice to me. And the first time I didn't understand what happened, but when the second time it happened, I was like, oh. And there's a way to replicate it. However, it's like really weird because obviously it's a glitch. It's not supposed to happen. But pretty much what happened back there, if you see, uh, in the, I'm trying to point, like, okay, back there, right? Uh, okay, where that, you see the little black spaces, where the little broken part of the bridge back there, I got hit off of that, but it was a weird angle and knocked me back onto the bridge. So what happens is none of my moves work. Attacks, I mean, they work, they come out, but it will be intangible to the opponent. So like it'll just be going through their body and stuff. So it doesn't matter. But you can still hit, high counter hit me and all that stuff, because for some reason the game registers you as still being tangible. So I dropped a first round because of that versus King. So I'm down 4-0 in rounds, which is in matches based on their format. And the first match is a glitch. So there's no way to communicate that because they don't understand. They don't even understand the regular game. They just see, oh, health bars and characters doing stuff. So that happens to me. But then the next round, we start back up here again and fight. And it's just like, dude, what? So I lose the score. I think it's 5-2 or 5-3 or something like that. And they didn't need to have us fight on the bridge. We could have fought on a more neutral stage, but they were on BS. They was trying to take me out early because like my side of the bracket also was much more difficult. It was me versus King, who I just fought at Evo, by the way, who got fourth place, and then Offbeat Ninja, who was the World Cyber Games 2006 world champion for DOA 4, was also on that side. He had to play against Vanessa, who was the best girl player at the time, and she had did well in during DOA 2 Ultimate. So she was like the female phenom. So they had them play against each other, and they had me and King versus each other. But then on the other side, they had Master versus Mystic, I think, first. On his side, it was just him, Mystic, oh my god, Kasumi-chan. Dang, I forget the other person. I'm sorry, but pretty much his bracket was easy. I want to say Swoozy, but I can't remember if Swoozy was playing or he had transitioned to being like host and stuff yet. All right, it's probably Swoozy. I'll just say it was Swoozy, but that was his side. He was playing against people who were not anywhere on his play level, and also like people who weren't playing the game like that. Because Swoozy was still using Brad Wong. He might have started using Kasumi at that time, but he wasn't like practiced up either. But yeah, they stacked the bracket and then altered the rules and then picked a stage that wasn't a neutral stage pretty much. And it's just like, come on, man, ain't no way you do this as a coincidence. But I lose, and then tell production, I'm like, hey man, this feels like it was rigged. Somehow they took that and said that I said that the production was racist, which made no damn sense because you got Master who's Mexican, Vanessa who's Mexican, Offbeat who's from Canada, and Susie who's black. I'm black. Like, who am I calling racist? Like, what are you talking about? Kasumi Chan, a white woman. Like, I don't get it. Like, it's just dumb. Like, you're taking my words and not even using the words. If you were going to use, just say PO was salty and he said this shit was rigged. Not it was somebody was racist. Like what? I'm not throwing away around the racist card for no reason, but that happened. I remember Jason Lake was pretty upset at me. He was like, "Yeah, you need to go sort out whoever you talk to or whatever." And I talked to the production. I was like, "Look, I told them what happened and stuff, but they still was like running this narrative." So I'm like, all right. On top of the weird ass rules for the tournament, they also had some of the bummiest monitors that had hella lag on it. Built in 8 frames of lag on the monitor, and plus they're trying to do their whole streaming thing at first, so they don't have anything optimized. We're the guinea pigs for playing and simulated lag, basically. So, um, that was like how it was for DOA. Like, and unfortunately, Championship Gaming Series was the last hurrah for DOA 4 because after I'm getting a little too ahead. So after that Championship Gaming Series Invitational, we had a slew of events for World Cyber Games and also Championship Gaming series a league happens this year. So I focus on World Cyber Games because it's closer to I'm sorry, it's closer to um grassroots stuff because like you're still show up to a tournament, play. There's not no weird ass rules. They're also doing first to 3 instead of first to 2 now for World Cyber Games, so it's a lot more even more legit. And they have nationwide online qualifiers. Actually, they have qualifiers for the whole world, but I'm obviously in America, so I can only speak on that. But I only say that because World Cyber Games was the first Olympic level event for gaming, and I don't know why people don't document that more or speak on that more. But I say that because every country was involved, at least in World Cyber Games 2007. In World Cyber Games 2007, there was a South Regional qualifier, East qualifier, a North qualifier, and I'm sorry, West, North, East, and South qualifier. Basically, a qualifier for every region. And each qualifier had like sections. It was like southeast, southeast. I mean northeast, southeast, southwest, northwest, all that stuff to all get down to who is the kings from each region. I ended up winning the South region, but it was really difficult because the net code wasn't that great. So you were like, why don't you win the Midwest? Because I had to deal with people using lag tactics that moves strings that you can't defend against because the delay's too high. So I ended up having to go to the South Regional qualifier and win. And I had to play Black Mamba, who I played at Evo, and he put me in losers, and he got fifth place at that Evo, and I had to battle back to win out of losers, but I had to play him. And dude, it was so hard because like he was playing Helena. His Helena was super optimal at that point. And my at the time I only could figure out game food to use versus her. He beat me 3-0, and you would think that would make it over. I told you that the sets was first to 3, but for some reason this tournament was first to 4. So after he beats me 3-0, I like dig deep and I just started playing the most solid that I could play to win that, and I beat him 4-0 with Genfu. And I could tell you what I was doing different in the match. So I was basically extending too much trying to hit him, and he was like playing really good spacing painting game. I couldn't command grab. I couldn't hit him with offensive holds because he would throw me out of them and stuff. So I had to play in a way to make him extend himself to me offensively, so then I could counter him and do more damage and then like host a life lead and all that. But then like once I figured out what to do, I was able to execute and do it, and I won the ticket for going to the U.S. National. He also got it too because top 2 was able to go, but I don't know. I just didn't want to win or anything. And, I mean, want to lose. And I think like there was no prize payout. It was just, hey, you get to go play at the national. So, and also the national World Cyber Games, they fly you out. You don't have to just pay out of pocket to go. They fly you out, put you in room and board, give you food stipend, and they also provide you with like food stuff. So that was cool. And that turn was difficult too because like some of the production that still worked on Championship Gaming Series was working on World Cyber Games. Like at this time, all these people were in control of everything. And before I had to play Master, which is funny because all right, I won out of my pool first because they had separate groups that you had to win. You had to have the best record in the group as well as winning out of it, because you could have a good record, but then some dumb stuff will happen where somebody else can have a good record. Now y'all gotta play a tiebreaker, and this changes the record. I'm saying that because I witnessed the most craziest constant tiebreaker matches in the pool that had Tycho. Rest in peace. Tycho was a really good Gifu player that passed away, and they had Master, Black Mamba, and there was a Hitomi player. I forgot his name. I haven't seen him in so long, but they had this crazy tiebreaker sets where before you think Master was making out, but nope, then Black Mamba's making out. There's no Tycho's making it out, and it's like, dang. So I had to like play as super hard in my group and won out of that. But then I had to play Master. They had me play Master, and so let me tell you how this happened. I'm actually out to eat with Escaping Jail. We're at like some burger spot, a Universal Studios kind of has like those like OG 1950s like burger spots that give you milkshakes and stuff. So I'm out there eating. I get a text or no, a call. Hey, you better hurry up and get here right now, or we're going to DQ you. I was like, y'all told me I had time to eat. What are you talking about? So it's weird because they would like flip the script on me. They'd tell me one thing, but then be doing something else. And so I show up. I'm running, by the way. I'm out of breath when I get to the setup to play on stage. Master's sitting there, calm and stuff. And the guy who's running the event, he's like, I was about to DQ you. You better hurry. And I'm like, dude, you told me. He's like, I don't care what I told. I'm like, okay, all right. I see what is going on here. So they knew that I was going to be panicking and running and all that stuff, out of breath. And so I'm playing Master, sitting down and playing him. I'm still catching my breath, by the way. If you watch the sets, he's like cooking me. And then actually, let me pull this up because I know they're alive for USA World Cyber Games. Let's see here. Where is me versus Master? Where is me versus Master? I know it's on here. Let's see. Perfect Legend versus Master. I know it's on here. I know it's on. This is CGS. This ain't that. But let's see. Where is me versus Master at? Dang. But you see all this stuff with old school. I can't find it. Where is this at? That's crazy. That's crazy. You can't see WCG DOA4 USA. Fire Club is different. This was after. This is in 2009 actually, when after everything was over with. That was, I think Mamba might have won this tournament versus Ninja CW. Rest in peace. That's my boy. One of my favorite sparring partners in any game. Dang, they don't have it on here. I swear I have it saved on my computer, but just use your imagination. So I was also, for those who are wondering, why weren't you at 2006? I didn't know about the 2006 one until after it was going on, because that's how information was back then. Here's me versus Mamba for Team USA. Oh no, this is just them showing Team USA period. And me, I used to heavily rep Ohio all the time. As you see, I'm wearing an Ohio State shirt. But yeah, I think it was. This is just them showing off Team USA for that year. But yeah, we have these cool ass jackets too. These jackets are cool. I love these jackets. I still have mine. I remember somebody asked me, "Can I have that jacket?" I'm like, "No, dude, get out of here." But yeah, this is me versus Mamba on stage for it. But I don't think they're not showing a. Dang, I can't find it. But anyway, use your imagination. I had to play Master, and I'm out of breath, dude. Like I cannot breathe at all. And he's like cooking me. But then I catch my breath and he starts getting cooked. And every time he gets lands a Zuna drop, he jumps into the he goes like, yeah, ah, and everybody's like cheering with him and stuff. But then when I start cooking, nobody cheers. Everybody's silent. Super silent. I might have this on my computer though, man. I'm about to. What is that? I'm about to show you guys by just finding it on my computer. I know it's on here. Ain't no way. Let me see. DOA. Just type that. DOA Tech. Hey man, I might be cooked. Might be cooked, y'all. Might not have it. Might be a fraud, but it's okay. Still, use your imagination. Basically, in our match, he like, yeah, I'm just getting cooked until I catch my breath and get my composure, and then like he's up 2 games, and then I come back and beat him 3-0. So here I am, always having to fight like from being from behind for some weird reason, but I kind of got used to it. But I just knew like no matter what, I don't care how down I am. If you just need to win one more round, I can still beat you. That's just how I feel about this game, like on a solid standpoint. But after I beat him, everybody was silent. Everybody was like cheering and stuff. But it was like, dude, you got the production trying to help you, trying to like get me to gas myself so I can't show up and stuff, and then threaten to DQ me for saying anything about it. Talking about, oh well, if you would have you say anything else and that's it for you. And like, dude, come on, man, that's some nonsense. But um, World Cyber Games was cool. World Cyber Games was like SB, like Super Battle Opera. Have you ever heard about that tournament in Japan where it's single elimination and all in one game? That's how it was at World Cyber Games. World Cyber Games, World Finals, because you have the national, then you have the World Finals. World Finals took place in Seattle that year. It every pool you cannot lose. It's not first to two, it's first to one. I had big headed Tetra in my pool from Singapore, who was coming in as one of the former like World Cyber Games world champions, and I I forgot who else I had, but they sorted us out like you have to play like the best players from each country, and yeah, dude, like playing under that pressure where you have to win. You only it's one game still the format 3 rounds, but you only can play it's one match. That's it. You had to be on point for that one match. So I made it out of my pool. I didn't lose to anybody, and then I got deeper in bracket, and then I had to fight Black Mamba again. By the way, in Evo, I mean, I'm sorry, in WCG 2007 National, I had to play him in the grand final. So I had to play him at the South Regional qualifier. Then I had to play him in the National, and then I had to play him in the semifinals. It was like, dude. And then in the semifinals, it wasn't even double elimination. At, at the national for WCG, it was double. It was like a regular grassroots tournament, double elimination, first to three, and they had round robin stuff too. But still, like you had the extra chance. So at uh what the South Regional qualifier, I beat him, and then I beat him at the World Cyber Games National. And by the way, these are all single double elim, by the way. But then why at the world tournament is single limb? First to two single limb. I was pissed. I'm like, man, I beat him all these times. And he had all these times, but I lose here one time. Like, it's like, dude, come on, dude. That made me mad. But I'm not like hating or nothing. I was just mad about the format. Like, he has nothing to do with that. Black Mama is one of the greatest DOA players ever. Like, he was a world champion that year, and he's shown to be godlike in other games, SoulCalibur as well. He's godlike in Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter. So but and then also that year, despite me losing, I still got third place. They had me play against the South Korean player, the best player from there that they had representing, Seraphan. I had to beat him for third place, and then Scat Miller got second. I didn't get to play him because it was single elimination, so I was playing just for third place. There was no like way for me to go up and rise up higher. But yeah, that was cool. And also, we set the record for having the most medals at the event for Team USA because of how we did in DOA, how like Chomper and Jason X did in Project Gotham Racing, and then how the Counter Strike team played, and then how the FIFA players played, like they and StarCraft. We all did a good job, so we became the world champions collectively of like the whole year, not just for like a singular game. So like, yeah, I didn't win the DOA World Championship, but I won the country World Championship collectively with the team. So that was tight. That was also pretty proud moment. I still got a lot of the memorabilia from there, like the there's a like certificate they give you and the medals and all that stuff. I still have like a big check that they gave you, and you. This is before, when they still was give you a check for you to walk through a tournament with. I mean, walk. You know, you walk through the airport or whatever. It's like here, take this. It's just big prop, but it still represents how much you get paid too, which was good. And it's kind of weird when people be like, "Oh yeah, it wasn't paying out anything. It was paying out there. You just got to be at the right events." You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like I know I'm moving super far ahead. Talking about I got Mortal Kombat on the screen, but I want to. I guess I just talk about this now because like with Mortal Kombat, at first I was playing Street Fighter 4, and before that, Championship Gaming Series was still going on. We was playing SoulCalibur 4 actually. SoulCalibur 4 was going to be the new game that they used to replace DOA. Yeah, when it was going to replace the game, it's kind of dumb. But Championship Gaming Series, um, after World Cyber Games 2007, there was nothing else to play in grassroots level, or there was no support from the fighting game scene. So I had just had to suck it up and be like, well, if I'm going to play DOA, I got to play in Championship Gaming Series. I actually skipped the first full year of Championship Gaming Series because I just didn't want to engage into the esports stuff. Basically, mainly I didn't like my experience at Championship Gaming Series. I didn't like the format. I didn't like the equipment, and I didn't like how they would just like they had an agenda to glaze certain people over others and put people over other people instead of it just being a fair type situation to where hey the skill is what sells, not oh we want this person to win because we like their personality. There was a lot of that going on. Unfortunately, that's how the a lot of the scene is today. And for a while, the fighting community was about who the best player is, and that's all we care about. But then it changed. And then so I ended up going to Championship Gaming Series the final year, but the first year of this series, I was there as a coach, just to coach Swoozy while he was on Complexity. And I think I did a pretty good job. I got him some wins. He beat Master, he beat Chappelle, he beat I forgot who else was there. I know I can't I don't know if he beat Jared. I don't think he beat Jared. And Jared had a really good run. Actually, Cali Jared, I haven't seen him in a minute, but he had a really good run on that for that season. But the next season I played and it was just let me tell y'all, it's really dumb to limit a player for being able to pick characters. So they told me I couldn't have more than 3 characters. So they was like, well, if you're gonna play, you can't have Helena, Janly, Genfu, Hayate. And I played all those characters. I wanted Janly to fight Ian. I wanted Helena to fight Hayabusa. And this was also this championship gaming series was after I already won DOA Tech. So I knew going to this tournament what strategy I wanted to use and all that. But they hindered me by saying you can't use this, you can only use whatever because somebody got to do the voiceover and stuff. I'm like, are you serious? So not only is the format whack and the equipment whack, they're also picking what you can and can't pick. It was a whack competitive experience for me. That's why I don't hold that championship gaming series in high regard for anything competitive wise because there are too many like stupid variable rules that are there that are not in other competition. And it was an event that was created for television more so than it was for competition. It was not moving the needle or pushing anything forward other than like, hey, we're on TV and stuff. But you also got the expansion going too fast. They're like, all right, we got these 6 North American teams, but let's expand to all these world teams now in UK, and they didn't have enough money to support all this stuff. So that's why it went under. And also the economy was bad. Like gas was $4 a gallon thanks to George Bush and whatever the Republicans was doing at the time. But moving on, as I said, I play SoulCalibur, and I'll just briefly tell you like, and it's actually a lot of time that I spent on SoulCalibur 4. But that's also where I met Wolfcrone, who you see me playing against here in this Street Fighter 4 tournament. And I have some more lore between me and Wolfcrone with Street Fighter 4. But this is how I met Wolfcrone. He was playing Hilde, who, you know, when she would beat you, say, yeah, fall before the flag of Wolfcrone or something. That's where he got his name from. But in SoulCalibur, I was having a really fun time that I wanted to do where, so like players I looked up to when I came into the scene, I always wish I could practice with them and just see how that was. And I was able to like Mick and RTD, who are I don't care what nobody say, they are the greatest SoulCalibur players, period, to ever play the game. And it was an honor to be able to play and practice with them and learn the game. Rest in peace to Mick. We miss you, man. But it was just getting one of my favorite grand finals of Evolution was watching them play against each other. Not the one where they was picking different characters and stuff because everybody was booing them for when they were picking their mains. I'm talking about when they actually picked their mains, was trying to beat everybody. That beat each other. That is the one of the best grand finals I ever watched. Most solid play to this day. It's straight like fundamental neutral spacing, timing. They're really fast moving, how they're poking and everything. And this isn't a game that don't got comeback mechanics. It does have the ring out though. I love the ring out, by the way. I think adding that dynamic and the spacing and how you need to think to play against people is super cool. But yeah, SoulCalibur, I definitely spent a lot of time on that. I play Cassandra, I play Sophicia, I play Algol, I play Yoshimitsu, I play Mitsurugi, I play Siegfried sometimes. But that was my standing with the game. I didn't super like go ham on it trying to I was going to competing wise, but then like once it got rid of CGS and then like Super Turbo HD Remix came out, or Street Fighter 2. I started playing that, and when I was playing that game, I started like seeking out Alex Valle, like, hey man, how should I be thinking while I'm playing this game? Because I want to expedite the like basically the exploration process where you try to figure out how to play and all that stuff. And I started playing Vega, Sagat, and Ryu. Those were like my foundation for at the time. And then when Street Fighter 4 came out, dude, like I started traveling even more so than I was before, like regionally. Like I would go to Michigan every weekend or every other weekend. I'll go to Cleveland every other weekend. I'll be going to Indiana to play in tournaments and stuff. And now people probably like, oh, what about your scene? My scene was like really just my friends. Like they would come over and play with me, but nobody was trying to like do a tournament, nothing like that. We were just straight up like grinding with each other, trying to win versus each other. The same way we do other games, but like a lot more focused. Like, all right, we actually have game plans of what we're doing. Then this is also time the GameStop National was going on, where they had all the different tournaments like at different game stops for round one, and then they would have a round two, and then the round three, which was at like your final regional. And that's how I met Antoine Ortiz from Michigan in Detroit, because he showed up to the final and beat me, and I was super salty because not only did they have us play on this whack ass kiosk, we couldn't play on our own stuff. It was just like difficult to get things to come out. So I was salty. I was like, man, let me pull up to Michigan. Let's get some games in. And I showed up and got bodied again. It was a little bit easier or better though, because like I could play on my stick, but there were still some things I need to learn, especially versus Balrog Boxer, because I didn't know stuff. I was still learning things at the time. But that was such a fun time. Like once I started getting really cold, and I could, cold as in good at the game for those that don't know the slang, I was able to like beat Wolf Crone. I was able to beat Antoine in different tournaments and stuff, but it was tough, man. I would lose to them as much as they would lose to me. And our regionals were super popping. Like people underestimate and underrate the Midwest, but we was just like, look how we're packed in here. We would be like that at other tournaments too. Like all these people will be showing up. You got JDM in the back, you got Streety in the back too, like Hughes back there. Like everybody be showing up to tournaments and competing with one another and try to just be the best at whatever game we was playing. And then afterwards we would hang out and talk shit. Some people wasn't cool with each other, some were, but they still show up to the event and keep things going. And that was from 2009 to like 2013. As much as I would go up there, that's how frequently I would be traveling around going to stuff. I don't really go too much nowadays because honestly, man, the reason we would travel, and a lot of people are not going to ever admit to this, was because like the net play was whack. But now net play is good. It's hard to justify the constant, oh, let me go here, let me go there, let me go there, because now I can get that same quality at home. I don't need to travel around to get the level of enjoyment from the games. Now, the tournaments and stuff a little bit different, and especially now, like equipment quality wise, you can't count on everybody having the right equipment. But back then it was a lot easier to do because you didn't need to have a monitor. You could just have a CRT and it worked well. But now CRTs are harder to come by, and actually it was hard to push them around because how heavy they were. And then that's when the LCD era became a big thing, and those are easier to move around and stuff too. That's why we started using the Evo monitor at the time, which was the Asus V 236H. That was a monitor everybody was using until like now. We got to get 120 hertz monitors and monitors of the variable refresh rate and all that stuff. But it was a lot easier to do things back then, and the entry fees was different. A lot, they didn't cost as much, and it was just, again, easier to do stuff. But yeah, I do. And Street Fighter 4 is funny because like going into like Mortal Kombat 9, I have to say that Street Fighter 4 was like my main focus. Like I really wanted to be great and like do well in that game, and I did actually. Despite like what my standards were, I did do well. I placed high in a lot of majors in that game. I got third Evo Online. The same year I won Evo in MK9, I got third Evo Online. So like, but it was, so Evo Online happened in 2010, but at the end of 2010, like December, like before, like right before the new year. So you can kind of still count it as 2011, but regardless, like I got third. I lost to Wolf Chrome, by the way. Wolf Chrome won. This is a time where Wolf Chrome was like the best player in the U.S. And yeah, I had to fight the best player in the U.S. all the time. Instead, while all this was going on, I had to hear all this East Coast, West Coast glazing. Oh, we're the best. Even though Wolf Chrome would like tear their ass up anytime he played them, and they would discredit him and stuff. And be like, oh, we don't like this dude as a person. I don't care. He whooped y'all ass every time he sat down, and people hated playing him in tournament. They tried so hard to DQ him from the final round tournament. That did he win that? I think he won or got third or something. But it's the same tournament that PR Rog beat Tokido in, and it's like, oh wow, PR Rog he beat Tokido. But yeah, like I got third in that Evo Online, and then that's funny. The tournament I'm just talking about, the final round tournament that PR Rog won versus Wolf Chrome and Tokido. The power up 2011 after that, I beat PR Rog after he beat Tokido. And not just that, it was a team tournament. I wish Spooky would have put this damn footage up, but back then Spooky was so anti-perfect legend, he didn't put anything up of me that much unless it was like somebody big or whatever. But pretty much they had a team tournament, and in the team tournament it was me, Arturo, and Alex Jabali all on the same team. And this is when I first met Jabali. This is when CEO was first a thing as well too. But I got fourth in that power up in the tournament, in the singles tournament, and our team got second in the tournament, in the team tournament. And I was able to beat in triple OCV. Actually, a triple OCV means one character victory, or one, you can say one player victory, or OPV or whatever. But it was Mike Ross, Flo, rest in peace Flo, who miss you, man, and it was also Mike Ross. And people wasn't realizing like how good I was yet. I wasn't getting my props and stuff, but I beat their team 3 times in a row by myself. So it's like I beat them, not like each person lost 3 times. So it's like 9-0 kind of. Well, it was like 9-1 because I did lose a game, and then I know Arturo or Bailey had to like win us so we can go to the next set. But I beat everybody in that, and there's no documentation of it other than me talking about it right now. And I would ask Spooky about it. He'd be like, "Yeah, man, we just didn't." But they was able to put up the other tournaments. They put up the singles event for Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter and Tekken and whatever and stuff. But yeah, man, like also Wolf Chrome won that tournament too. Second was, I think, might have been Justin, maybe. But also the team tournament was Wolf Chrome, Justin, and Noel. What's funny is me and Wolf Chrome would actually do team tournaments to so we could beat everybody, but it was business. Whoever you feel like you can win with the most, that's who you would team up with. Me, I was just getting whoever was left actually, because Arturo and Jabali wanted to play, and they was like, "Fuck it, let's play." But yeah, like going into Mortal Kombat, this game was really my main game that I cared about. So like when I would play Mortal Kombat, it was kind of more like my side game, and I think that kind of made people mad because I wasn't in the Mortal Kombat community. I wouldn't play MK3 in tournaments or nothing like that. I would play in casuals. One time I did play Rio in casuals. I remember like at the time he was one of the like top dogs in MK3 for that. And I played him in like a casual set. I was like, damn, I thought this was gonna be harder than it was. And I only said it because I was beating him, but he was, it wasn't like Cabal Mirror or nothing. I think he was playing like different characters. Me, I only picked Cabal in MK3 because that's the character I like the most. And plus, like, then I found out he was the best character later on. Like, why would I play anybody else other than maybe like Human Smoke? Human Smoke looks cool, but going in like MK9, everybody was like really man, Ryu 48's right there, man. He passed away. For people don't know, he passed away during the pandemic. He was one of the best Sonya players too, but he was also part of the VSM crowd and all those guys, like just being like, they were really good players. They knew their shit. But yeah, like going into MK9, Tom was like, "Hey man, Mortal Kombat 9 is about to come out. Why don't you be my sparring partner in this? We can cook." And I'm like, "All right, cool, whatever." And like, he actually calls me up while I'm at a nightclub. Yeah, I'm at a nightclub. It may be like 11 o'clock. He's like, "Hey man, go home right now. I'll talk to you about something." I'm like, "All right, cool." And he tells me about like MK9 is coming out and it's gonna be a dope game. And he had been testing it and stuff. So I'm like, "All right, cool. I'll lock in when the game comes out." Game is out. Myself, and this is another opportunity where I get to practice with my friends that were good at games before me, and I always wanted to grind with them, like Job and EP and them, and they were on the ball to play it too. So I'm like, all right, cool. So we're grinding it and playing it. Job's playing Raiden, he's playing Johnny Cage. I'm playing with just Kung Lao because at first I was gonna play with Scorpion, but Tom is like, no, play with Kung Lao. Kung Lao is more your character. So he selected for me to pick Kung Lao. I mean, I already liked Kung Lao from the Shaolin monks and stuff, and I thought he looked cool and everything before that, but I wasn't in love with the character yet. And MK9 is where it came, but like, yeah, we got pretty good at the game, and then went out to power up to play, got top 8, got second. Tom beat me in the finals and stuff. But our event was us playing was more so us just showing the game off to people because it's like we didn't care who won between us. But I ain't gonna lie, like in winners finals, I was going hard. I was like, look, dude, I'm not going to the grand finals. I mean to losers. So you gonna have to just beat me, and wherever in grand finals you make it back, we can just run a little exhibition and shit. But yeah, dude, it was such a fun game, and that's another thing. Like we wanted to recreate what RTD and Mick did, where they like got to the grand finals and then just like picked whatever. I mean, we've seen the twins do that too. Scorpion Prox and Nicholas and like MK11, we've seen them do that. So, but yeah, man, this game at first it was so cool because I'm like, man, I really enjoy Mortal Kombat's like arcade lore, and then I love the movie and all that stuff, and like everything Mortal Kombat, I loved it. And, like lore wise and nostalgia wise, like I wouldn't play Deception or Deadly Alliance like that, but I would like, when I mean like that competitively, I would just get on it and just mess around. But with this game, it just pulled me in so much with, look how cool it looks, man. Like how they reimagined all the moves and stuff. And I would exclusively listen to the reptile theme from the movies while I would play against people in tournament. That was the only theme I would listen to, for people that was wondering what I was listening to. I would play it, but I would get hit by copyright and all that stuff. But you can go listen to it. It's like Tracy Lords or something. That's who it's by. But man, like I went to so many tournaments that first year. I went to the MLG tournament they had in Columbus. Yeah, they had an MLG Columbus tournament for MK9 that year. I was at Power Up. I went to Ultimate Fighting Game Tournament, also known as UFGT, or the first. It was actually Combo Breaker before Combo Breaker, literally ran by the same people, but just changed the name. Of course, I went to Evo that year. But I spent a lot of money traveling around and stuff, and kind of broke even. Like first place for MK at Evo was $3,500. So after I won that, I wanted to take a break, and then I was kind of like starting not feeling the game as much because of the infinites of being found. Like Cabal had a block infinite. Cyrex is doing way too much damage where you can just get robbed by somebody that's not even good enough to beat you. So it was like I had my gripes with the game, but they kept making improvements and stuff. But after that Evo, I didn't have any intentions to play it anymore. After I won, I was like, well, my mindset, which is still kind of there today, if I win in this game and I win the world championship, why do I need to keep playing? I've already proved I'm the best. I'm going to move on to the next challenge now. And the next challenge was still the challenge that I wasn't finished on, which was Street Fighter. And a lot of my like development of getting good at the 2D or more 2D games was also from playing Street Fighter as well. Like it demanded you to play a certain way to be able to win, and I took that into Mortal Kombat 9. And the thing was, in Street Fighter 4, I was very exhausted from the comeback mechanics, the revenge meter, really more so C Viper. As I told y'all, I was playing against Wolf Crone all the time, Wolfcrone was a master at doing EX Seismo into, you know, the kill combo that you need. And me playing Akuma, I get hit once, I'm losing a lot of damage. I'm probably going to lose. So I was so tired of that. And Mortal Kombat was like, all right, there's no comeback mechanics and you just got to like beat somebody. But there was still like other stuff that was annoying that I was just talking about. So after that Evo, I was like, okay, I'm going to just focus on Street Fighter because Seasons Beatings is coming up and all internationals are showing up. Infiltration showed up. Laugh was there. That's when Laugh was, you know, coaching with Infiltration. Daigo showed up. I don't think Tokido was there, but even Viscant showed up. That there was way more internationals. Punko was there. I actually have a set of me playing him at that tournament. That's where we met. Like, I mean, I knew him from the other terms, but we didn't play at the Evo that year. This was coming from when he had just got top 8 at that Evo as well. And Udio was there, one of the best. He was a Sea Viper player. He actually got like second at God's Garden that year, but he decided to switch over to Sakura for some reason. But everybody was there. And I was taking names in the team tournament. I was taking names in the singles tournament. But, you know, no, nobody cared about how well I was doing Street Fighter because you got all the salty Mortal Kombat players who show up to season beatings because like, yeah, we're showing up so we can beat you, PL. And I'm like, dude, I already said that I'm not playing this game at this tournament. There's no reason to play. If anything, it will be taken away from my focus from Street Fighter at the time. They're making it seem like, oh, well, you're just dodging. No, I don't care to beat you. To me, you're a nobody. You weren't at Evo. So why do I care about you showing up to a regional to play? You should have showed up to Evo, literally coined the world championship. But this is where everybody started discrediting Evo, saying, "Oh no, Evo's not where the real competition is, and you're just a world champion on paper. You're the paper legend." Like that's what they was calling me, the paper legend. They had got like a paper plate and drew a belt on it, and had all these wires and stuff. And then they made a cantaloupe video. James DeCase talking shit to the cantaloupe video, and he's like dipping his cantaloupe inside the wine or pomegranate juice and drinking it and whatever. And we're doing back and forth hater videos to each other because I'm talking shit, he's talking shit, VSM's also talking shit, and they're going along with it. Imagine today somebody wins Evo and somebody's like, "Oh no, you didn't win the real tournament." Blah blah blah. People would laugh at them and call them stupid, but no, the scene at the time was like, actually, he might be a fraud. You might be right, even though he did beat Rio in the grand finals, he didn't beat these people in the grand finals, and he was using Kung Lao, but Kung Lao got nerfed, and like it was all these excuses on why I shouldn't have won the event. Oh, his bracket was easy and whatever. And what made things worse is that at the time, I mean, Tom went back to like New York or whatever, and he was hanging out with them. Maybe they bullied him into saying or acting like this, but the me having the easy bracket came from him. He told that to CD Junior, and CD Junior showed me like the messages and stuff on Facebook. And I don't know why, like he wasn't even talking to me like that. He just out of nowhere showed me all of that. So I'm just like, okay. And they were kind of like, I guess in cahoots or something. Maybe he was around them. He was tired of hearing their mouth or I don't know. But me, I'm by myself here in Ohio, by the way. And there was no local scene. For me to have a local scene, I had to drive an hour or 2 hours just to have a local. That's not to me a local scene. That's me driving an hour or 2 hours to somebody else's scene. Nobody's coming to Toledo to practice with me. Nobody's hosting tournaments in Toledo. No one's interested in playing in tournaments in Toledo at the time. So it's just all me grinding by myself. I have to play online and go off of labbing different situations and seeing somebody doing a strategy and be like, all right, let me try to play around this. And y'all already know MK9 didn't have the best training mode. Their training mode was garbage. The only way you can get the computer to fight you back is by putting the computer on like hard, and they just start fighting you back. Or you set the computer to do a wake up attack, and then you try to like play around the wake up attack, because what they would do is they would just like wrench through all their special moves on wake up, and then that's it. That's how I had to train the game. Meanwhile, at VSM, they can be like, hey, Maxter, can you use this character on me? Hey, CD Senior, can you use this character on me? Can you do this? And like, they could test shit. And still, like, come on, man. Still to where they're able to win Evo for some reason. So then what got me to come back to actually want to play was that Warner Brothers it started saying, hey, they announced that they're putting up money for tournaments for Evolution and for Major League Gaming. MLG decided to bring Mortal Kombat on as one of its main games there. So I was like, all right, cool. I am kind of, I want to say rusty. I'm more so like out of touch. And I only mean by that because they released a big update, and the version of the game we played at the first Evo didn't have any DLC characters. They banned them from tournaments. But now all the DLC characters can rock, and we also have a new balance patch. So stuff is different. So I had to relearn the game. And, you know, as I just told you how annoyingly difficult that was just learning the game, because you got to actually play online. Netcode's not that good. People I was playing with at the time was THTB. Actually, that's the only person I played with online for a minute. I would play 16-bit sometimes online. I can't remember if I played Slips online, but I definitely played THTB and 16-bit online for a few until like 16-bit moved Chicago with Dizzy, and then they stopped playing online. Dizzy never played online. And King would play online every now and then, but at this time I wasn't playing with King yet. And also, let me touch on this because people love to say I was ducking and dodge. So after I won Evo, right, and before season beatings, Tom comes to my house because he wants to like grind up and train and whatever, right? And he also wants to go to like some of the local scenes I was going to. But again, I was focused on Street Fighter. But I would play him with like different characters he wants to fight against. He don't want to fight against Kung Lao. He wants to fight against like everybody else. So I was giving him everybody else experience. And then we go to Console Combat, which is the local that Into Dave and Playing to Win and Forever King and Master D and THTB be at. So I take him out there and I'm playing Street Fighter, and they're mad that I'm not playing the tournament for MK and saying, oh, I would have lost if I would have played. I'm like, dude, I just won Evo. What are you talking about? So that's where that comes from, saying I'm going different stuff. But dude, I told you where my mindset was. I was not trying to play the game anymore. I had been playing it hella. I went to every tournament and beat every. I went to, the PDP National. I played in that too. Got 5th in that. They forced us to play on the dang sticks, which were whack at the time. And the block button broke on me when I played. And Justin Wong won that tournament. And UFGT, by the way, was the weekend or 2 weekends after that tournament. And I went and won that tournament. I actually played. I played against Justin. I played against PR Rog. I played against Flo. I played against Michelangelo. I played against everybody. I played against Byte and Casuals. I played against 16-bit Casuals. Actually, the first time I met 16-bit was at a UFGT. But yeah, I was traveling. I was doing everything. I was burnt out in the sense for playing game. The way I take breaks. If I'm burnt out from a game, I'll play another game. You probably think, well, why don't you be burnt out from all? No, it's like you have a bunch of information boiling in your brain, and instead of just like going through it all the time, you're like, all right, let me do something else now. And the way I do that is just get some more information or do something else. It's just what I like to do. I just play a different game or do a different hobby or whatever, go to the club, whatever. But yeah, they were pretty annoyed by me not wanting to play in the tournament. And it's like, oh, you're a paper legend. And it's constant slander, constant whatever. Like Rio wanted me to play him in the first to 10 because he was salty about getting cooked. But I'm like, no. And it's funny, is like the whole community was harassing me about this. You would think that somebody was like, no, this is wrong. Why would you play you? Nope. Everybody was like coming down on me, constantly getting like notifications about it and everything, right? So then 2012 comes around. That's when MOG and Warner Brothers is more involved with putting out prize pools and stuff. They actually even filmed a documentary about Evo 2012. And so the first MOG tournament, which by the way, I was playing before then but I was playing like Raiden, trying different characters because there's a new update. We don't know what's good and what's not. And I went a major with Raiden. Actually, I went Frosty Faustings. I beat Slips and 16-bit in tournament, and that's everybody was like, yeah, man, this is a real deal. But when MOG Columbus comes around again, I lose. I'm actually a little bit more out of practice at this time, even though I was more in practice at the Frosty Fausting. What happens in between that time, Street Fighter Cross Tekken gets announced, and then they're also doing a Cross Assault event. So I think the game comes out. I might have been playing the game or getting ready. I think I might have been playing the game or something. Just, Focus was just kind of like doing that. But when I get back on MLG, I mean on Mortal Kombat for MLG, I see that I'm kind of behind. Like Johnny Cage just plays totally different now, way different than how Jock was playing him. Now he does a 4-3-3 string instead of 4-3-2 string, and then Cabal's a little bit different. Every character's a little bit more polished and stuff. So I get 9th place. I lose to Kerbo. Yeah, he babies me. But guess what? I don't know the Johnny Cage matchup. And at that point, it was totally different. So I just got caught. And then Johnny Cage can just keep locking you down in the corner. And if you're not getting hit, you're not building any meter. And if you're not doing any moves, you're not building any meter. And if you're just doing moves on your block, you're just stuck there. So it's like you get caught in the corner, no meter to poke out. You just get caught and you die, and that's just it. That's what happened. And people were like, oh yeah, ha ha ha. And it's like, dude, you know what's funny? As I said, y'all have all these people that you can practice with using all these different characters. With me, I have to go out of my way to find people that use stuff because no one in my area plays anything. No one in Michigan was playing the game. They actually stopped playing. There's only people like in console combat was like those 5 people: M2 Dave, Forever King, Master D, THTB, and sometimes playing when we play and pick rating. But so people were trying to blow me up, say I was a fraud because I finally lost. Because I lost to Junior and I lost to Kerbo. And also same thing, I didn't have any Jax experience, and Jax was a totally different character. Now he's doing armor moves that totally negate neutral. You gotta think, because before it was just about speed versus speed and hitboxes and stuff. Now it's like, all right, we got these armor moves that are safe on block now. So I had to basically relab the game and regrind the game. And I was like playing, and people in America wouldn't play with me like that. So I had to like ask people from Europe, like Foxy, Use for Glue, Ketchup Mustard for games. And then like King finally started playing me online, and I would play him, and he would give me Jax, Sonya, Cage experience. And then there were some players in Florida. I think his name was Mike. I forgot his name, dude. But I can see your face anytime I think about you. But thank you so much for the practice and the grind, because then I could beat all these fools who are trying to like be stupid towards me. But yeah, like it was a lot of grinding session just to. It also Sunk from Chicago, from GGA, from Galaxy Ghost Arcade. It was at Power Up 2012. I went out there and we was like just talking about like practicing and stuff. Like we don't have anybody to play with. He was like, hey man, I'm a truck driver and I drive through Toledo a lot. When I come there, I can just come play with you and grind. So playing with him actually got me really polished versus everything, because he was playing hitbox Cabal, like on the hitbox, everything everybody hypes up now. And we used to say that was super cheating back then, because you could do perfect gas blast, perfect everything, and barely miss anything. But me, I took that as an opportunity, like, hey, I can practice against this, and if I get good enough to where I can beat somebody playing like this, no one's gonna be able to touch me, because I'm basically playing against a robot technically, and everybody else is not gonna be on point like this. And that's how I got so good versus Cabal, knowing exactly when to do everything, how to approach him and deal with him. And everybody else, they couldn't keep up with how fast I was playing. And it's funny because at this time they were saying this dude named Crazy Sasquatch was a better Kung Lao than me, and then they said Kung Lao's not that good. I'm like, oh okay. And then after I beat them, they was like, oh, Kung Lao. It's so funny because both Rio and Junior start using Kung Lao after that. It gets so bad to like, okay, so obviously I win the first Evo, right? And then the second Evo comes around, I went out of pools and I make it to the next stage, right? They have me play Rio, who I played in the grand finals of that tournament, right outside of pools. And in this match, I'm gonna show you real quick. Hold on. In this match, I know I got it up here. Here it is. In this match, you got like hella people watching. You can't see them because they're off camera, but Junior's there too. I'm gonna let this play. Let me turn his music down real quick so you can hear it. But you'll hear the mid-set coaching going on, which everybody agrees should be banned. You shouldn't be coming up and talking to the screen and the players while they're playing. So here, my philosophy is like I'm just going to keep challenging Cabal's space and not let you feel comfortable zoning, because the thing is here, when Cabal's doing like the backdash and then gas blast, you can mess up and do a full jump, and then that gives me opportunity to get in. Or same thing, if you do a saw and I know it's coming, it gives me a full opportunity to get in. So if I'm constantly challenging that space with the roll, the dive kick, dashing in, and throwing hats and teleporting, you're not sure which way I'm gonna to come in with. But I still have to condition the opponent to think I'm gonna do something while I'm actually thinking about doing something else. And that's how I pick this apart here. I'll let you watch it out. Like, and Rio's getting started, getting the stuff off, wins the first round. You don't hear Junior right there? Oh, you hear him later on. Looking dire for me, right? It's like, dang, you beat him here? Yeah. That should happen. Look at this. I'm down. There are no comeback mechanics. There's nothing but my will. Okay? My will and skill. You're fighting Cabal with life lead like that? How do you make a comeback? Composure. Oh, EX Teleport, let me get in. But EX Teleport, you can just move away from it. Uh-oh. Losing that life lead. I didn't go for the just frame right there because I wanted to keep him close to me. Oh, no. All right, right here, by the way, just give you a quick heads up. So his run right here, the reason it got beat out, because it's not invincible. It doesn't have enough invincibility frames to not get meaty. So I'm meeting him to force him to do an EX move, which would have been the EX dash. If he did the EX dash, I could have still combo breaker. Yes, I think about that the whole match. Like I'm paying attention to all the resources on the screen while I play, but I'm forcing him in a situation where he needs to do a wake up attack. But he probably was like, I don't want to do it because then if he blocks it, then I got a breaker and I have no meter, which is true. So it's just like chess. It's putting somebody in a situation that makes them do something, or checkers. Or actually, I don't even play chess. I don't even know why I said chess, but I don't know how to play chess. But I know that it works like that. But checkers, I know it works like that too. So after this miraculous godlike comeback by myself, I don't know what Rio's thinking about, but I'm still in there. Low hat. So you're probably thinking, oh, he could have did EX dash right here to be out low hat. That is true. However, he would have to wait for the low hat to get right here and do it on reaction. But he had immediately tried to do a gas blast, and he messed up the gas blast and got the standing gas blast to the air gas blast because I mean he missed his execution. But yeah, to beat Cabal, you have to constantly challenge him, so the user can't basically play perfect, and then you put them in execution errors that gives you a big advantage to punish them. But this is after a year of slander of I'm dodging tournaments and blah blah blah, and I'm not good, and I lost to MLG and whatever, I got exposed. That's what this was. A year after that. And by the way, I actually got what, third in MLG Raleigh. I mean MLG Anaheim, which Rio also lost at. He lost a 16-bit and somebody else. And that was another thing. They used to say, "Oh well, Rio won the most majors, but you won the most quality majors." It's like, what the fuck does that mean, dude? What are the most majors? The most majors you decide to hold in your backyard. Look, geography wise, right? Let me pull up a map of the United States. Let's do this real quick. And I used to have to do this back in the day too, and people were acting really dumb about it because I don't know, they're ridiculous. So, oh, this is a detailed map. Okay, pull this up really fast for you. I just saved it. Where's it at? Okay, the United States map. This is for people that don't know geography. Okay, now if if you know where New York's at, Okay, and you know where Ohio's at. All right, let me I guess make this even bigger for those that don't even know or understand, especially our international people. So you see where it says New York? All right, this is where Rio's at, where it says New York, okay? And then you see where it says Ohio is in green. That's where I would be at, okay? So all these majors that they was talking about were all along the line of where New York's at. So you want to go to a major in New York, you just take a bus to Pennsylvania, or you go to New Jersey, which is right there, or you can the furthest you may need to go will be Virginia, okay? All those you can take in the bus ride. As I told y'all earlier, me and Jim Master took a Chinatown Fair bus to New York to get to Connecticut for Evo East. These fools have the full luxury and privilege of just being on the East Coast and going to wherever tournament is being held by Biggie or at the time, let's see who was hosting, who else was hosting stuff. They will host their own tournaments too. It wasn't just Biggie, but pretty much, yeah, they're like, yeah, you aren't going to our tournaments over here, brother. Then, and I'm like, I'm in Ohio. I'm in Ohio, and not only am I in Ohio, for when I go to tournaments, I'm going to Michigan, Indiana, Virginia, freaking. Also, when I went to MOG Columbus, and then Evo is all the way over here, Nevada, right? But they said, oh, you won here? That's no, dog. You gotta come all the way over here in my house and beat me. That's the only way it matters. Otherwise, you're the paper champion. I'm like all in Illinois. You win a UFGT and shit. Going to Vegas twice that year. I went there twice for Evo and the PDP National. Meanwhile, Rio's like, all right, well, I went to Power Up and then I went to Evo. Like, boy, if you don't stop. And then you got the CD brothers who was being ridiculous about that. It's like, dude, come on, you guys are trolling, and they were trolling before trolling was trolling, and they you say trolling too, but yeah. So as you see, this man went back to character select because I beat him off Cabal. So this is the same player that started the hate campaign on me in Mortal Kombat because he got his back blown out, was salty, losing this Melina. And it's funny, what makes things worse, when he played me in the grand finals at Evo 2011, he was super charged up on the matchup. That tournament was my first time ever fighting Melina the whole time that I was playing the game. That was my first time fighting her at that tournament. I almost lost to Devil Jim and and losers. I mean in bracket. He almost beat me with Melina. The tournament where I made it like a crazy comeback on. Let me pull that up for those that don't know, because it's yeah, it's one of the best comebacks of Evo history that is never talked about, but they'll tell you about more like Marvel versus Capcom 2 stuff. But this event, I mean, this part is so. Let's see, all right, this is it. This is Devil Jim right here on the left side of me. Obviously, there's me on the right, and also if you come to the streams, you know who um Neo X is. Neo X is also in the back, like talking shit. That's not exactly him directly behind me. He's like off to the side of Devil Jim. Actually, you can see the little plaid. That's Neo X.
Gigantic life lead, near flawless. I believe that's.
And this is Sweet Johnny Cage commentating this with Dr. Dog, by the way.
Just from Chip. Wow, punishes the spin.
See, look at the life. Look at the life. Look where my health is.
The raw jab.
This is looking very, very bad for Perfect Legend.
Ooh, raw uppercut, no dice.
No comeback mechanics, by the way.
Jim's got to stay solid. Gets him with a hat.
Strong.
Breaker, very smart breaker. Just needs to space him out. Rolls himself into the corner, not very smart. Hat combos, hat combos. Oh, wow.
By the way, that's not a hat combo. A low hat into down for it doesn't combo. He just didn't block. Down four and a low hat also doesn't combo. He just didn't block. everybody there at the time was so ignorant to Kung Lao. They were like, oh, you just do 2-4 low hat. Yes, 2-4 low hat worked because 2-4 was a linker. You can't link the rest of this stuff. But yeah, this was my first time fighting Melina in tournament or period. Actually, no one was picking this character. As I told you, I did not play ranked online. I didn't go online and I would message people that I knew to play with them. That's what I did. I did not care about ranked. Ranked does not matter. As somebody who's plays on ranked, it doesn't matter. Especially like during this delay-based netcode era. But this is the first time I fought. Now, why this is significant is because I didn't have any experience versus that character. But you know who did? You know who did? Rio and Tom. Tom and Rio played nothing but the Kung Lao versus Melina matchup. So Tom knew exactly how to play versus Melina, and Melina knew exactly how to play versus Kung Lao in that matchup. So he's come to the match with hella match experience and all that. And me, I'm going into grand finals barely knowing how to fight Melina. I won versus Delwigin off some like me just saying fuck it, I'm gonna just do what I do and win. I wasn't playing the match systematically or anything like that. So I beat him off of Melina too in the tournament, and he picked Cyrax on me in the grand finals and loses. And I'm just like, dude, like, how are you? Like, I don't understand. Instead of just saying, all right, good stuff, man, you got me. No, instead it's a campaign to just crap on me the whole time and be like, yeah, this dude's a fraud. He's not in the MK community. This isn't my friend, so I'm gonna just be a jerk or whatever. But I mean, I don't think it matters that we see, you know, who his friends are. We see how he treats his friends, but that's where this shit stemmed from. And he got everybody on the East Coast a part of this shit. Like the production, Team Spooky, all of them, everybody was all about, well, their mindset would be, oh, we're just trying to boost out East Coast. No, it's about being fair, man. Forget about the regional wars and stuff, and you paint a narrative just to paint a narrative because you want your boy to win. If anything, to me, that's the type of shit that makes somebody a bad person, where you just basically lying and paint something the way it's not. Like, I know somewhere in the Bible it say something against that. So, but that's where that shit stemmed from. And people will be like, oh, PL's a bad person, I interacted with him. I remember somebody like Pig, right? He said the first time he met me, I was a dick to him. I'm like, how was I a dick to him? He was like, because you just brushed me off. So you mean to tell me you went up to me while I was in tournament mode, thinking about tournament brackets, going to whatever stand and practicing shit, because I didn't fall out and be like, oh my God, you're peeking the hut, that you say I'm a dick? Like, that shit is stupid. And he said that shit on the Chasing the Cup documentary too. And everybody's always paint me like I'm just acting like I'm so holier now. Yes, I think I'm better than you in the game, but I'm not about to, like, that shit don't get carried over into real life. It doesn't make any sense. And that's another thing. Again, I didn't even hang out with these people or be around these people for them to create these narratives around me. But it's just the fact that I didn't have people coming up to bat for me, being like, no, he's not like that, and nobody was saying anything, and everybody would just shit on me or whatever. It was like all these people against this one person, and then people are thinking of like, oh, well, if this many people are saying this, it must be true, and if it's just him, it's messed up. And what made things worse was that Tom was siding with them at the time, so he's going around like, you know, we're supposed to be boys and shit, but then you're also co-signing them, so it makes me look like this shit is true. That was whack as hell, dude. I would show up just to play and do my best. Oh, shout out Gio in the back. That's Gio, and that's Cody. Cody's like a top Kazuya player, or used to be. I don't know if he still plays anymore, but he was godlike in Tekken. But dude, that's where all that stuff came from. And then it was just non-stop all the time. Like, we would have those podcasts like y'all be listening to now, but they would use those podcasts as like a to scope me out. Like, oh, we'll get him on here and let's just try to make him mad and make him look bad in front of the community and blah blah blah. They would do that shit all the time. So I stopped going on podcasts and do anything, because I thought we were just trying to be cool and be a part of community and stuff and grow the game. But no, it wasn't like that. So that's why you don't see me a part of so much stuff with people because of how things work. I'm not going through that. But or again, I should say. But yeah, Mortal Kombat 9 was it was fun but also annoying at the same time. Like, we played that game for 5 years. People don't realize that, but 2011, 12, 13, 14, and 15. And we didn't stop playing like competitively as a main game until MKX came out. And what's funny, so like, all right, I win 2011, right? 2011 Evo or 2012 Evo again, like the back-to-back one. After this, they're like, "Oh, PO, you why you being a dick?" Because I started talking shit back to them because I was holding that shit for a whole year about, oh, I'm dodging and ducking tournaments and stuff or whatever. But then when I like basically retaliate, give them their own medicine, it's, oh, I'm a jerk, I'm a jackass, I'm a bad person, blah blah blah. And they even turn up the heat. They don't even give me the props to stop the shit. I think that's when Rio's like, yeah, we need to play first to 10 or whatever. And it's funny because like the way people act now, they will be against the salty loser. You get what I'm saying? They usually would be like, nah, but no, it wasn't like that. Everybody was still against me, saying like, no, I still need to do more. Like, what is that? That is so stupid. Then Injustice comes out, right? Or we start doing testing for Injustice. They leaked that, they pull that shit from there into that too, where it's like, all right, we're not gonna let Mortal Kombat 9 be Mortal Kombat 9. We're still gonna talk about Injustice 1, this in Injustice 1. Still gonna have this grudge, still gonna have this like chip on your shoulder or whatever. But then certain people started acting different that was on my side at first. So it is like wishy-washy, like only on my side when it benefits them or benefits the current narratives when they don't look bad. So I say this to say, they say, okay, the first major I played in Injustice 1, UFGT, I lose to 16-bit. He's using Killer Frost, and he's like, oh, yeah, fraud, yeah, I got you now. And it's like, dude, you work for the team now that makes the game. You know how dumb some of the stuff is. Yeah, I might have did the strategy guide. I might have came in and helped with the testing and stuff. But, dude, like, the most that we saw... All right, first off, when I came in to do testing, because there are some people talking shit about that too, saying that I was lollygagging and going into different designers' cubicles to talk to them. Yeah, I was going to their cubicles and talk to them. You know why? Because I didn't know what the hell the direction of the game was. That was my first time testing a game or doing anything like that. So I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to look for. It was so many times I would find something and they'll be like, oh, we already found that. So I'm just wasting time sitting here just finding stuff that y'all already found. So I'm like, what is the direction? What do you want me to do? That's what I was trying to find out. Nobody gave me any kind of a guideline or nothing. It's like they acted like I was already there before, or assumed just because like I'm me that I didn't know what to do. So I was going to Paulo and talk to him. Yeah, I was going to John Edwards and talk to him. Yeah, I was going to QA room and be like, hey, so what do y'all think about the game? And what, like, I was trying to get a good scope of what I should be doing. But no, they turned that into me not wanting to do any work and me just messing around. No, I didn't know what the fuck to do. I was trying to figure out what to do for work. Because all we're doing is sitting there playing sets. And that's it. That's all we were doing. Just play sets. No direction at all. But they tried to use that and like put that against me too. Like, oh yeah, PL, don't do this, don't do that. And I'm just like, okay, all right, dude. And doing the strategy guide, that the stigma that came with all that banned the testers from the tournament and stuff. So I purposely sat out the first couple of majors until UFGT when people felt more comfortable. So like the game came out in April, UFGT wasn't until the end of May, which basically when Combo Breaker is. And so I'm like, okay, once that happens, we play in tournament. I lose a 16-bit. 16-bit's like taunt me and all this other stuff, being whatever. And I'm just like, this is weird because I never do this to you, but okay. And then fast forward, CEO, I get second place. I lose to Chris G. I beat KDZ. And this is after everybody's, oh yeah, you can't win anymore. And I also win MK9 at that event. So I got first in MK9 and I got second in Injustice 1. I beat Gross, who had beat me at VXG, by the way, and everybody was like, oh yeah, every time I lose MK9s, I'm a fraud and I can't win, and I've only been winning because of X, Y, and Z and stuff. Little people know at VXG I was hungover playing in the tournament. I actually wasn't supposed to play in the tournament. Triforce force entered me in the tournament while I'm like chilling out. I didn't know I was coming to St. Martin to play in the tournament. I thought I was coming to hang out because I literally just played in Evo the weekend before. So I'm like, why? That's the people will be like, oh, they try to get you where they can catch you when you're burnt out and be like, oh yeah, we got you now. You figured me out. Like, that's not how it works though. So, but anyway, I lose at VHG. I do get second in grand finals, but I'm like hungover, whatever. But dude, Gross wins the tournament. As soon as he gets off the plane, apparently he has a whole parade. Everybody's like, oh yeah, you're the greatest in the world. By the way, I've never gotten any kind of parade or nothing. As many world championships I won, nobody's giving a shit. I've never gotten like a party, props, or nothing like that. It's just been, all right, you won, good job, good job. I mean, I'll go out to eat with my parents and stuff, but other than that, that was it. But and I mean, I don't want to say that was it, discredit or discount that. That is more than enough that I need. But I'm just saying, like, as opposed to, I'm just comparing it to how other people react to people winning and how they react to me winning, or at least when they beat me. But so at that CEO, I ended up getting my revenge on Gross. Wasn't hungover, beat him 6-0 in the grand finals, and people were like, "Oh no, man, it don't count now." Why it don't count now when I win? When I win and win with Cabal, it's like, oh, Cabal, he's broken. Nah, nah, nah. But Rio wins with Cabal. It's the greatest shit since sliced bread. We couldn't get a better piece of bread from, like, it's dumb, man. So I was just like, whatever. And 16-bit actually was like on my side at that tournament for one of the final times where I win, and 16-bit's like, don't ever doubt Perfect Legend. All of you can hold that. Everybody can hold that. Like, you can go watch the footage of me versus KDZ after I beat him. But then later that year, we go to VXG again, and 16-bit is like, oh, there's no way he's going to beat Chris G 6 games straight. And now I got revenge on Chris, because Chris G beat me at that CEO. So I beat him at that VXG. My Evo that year was whack because, unfortunately, I was sick. I had a heat stroke leading up to, like, the couple days before the event. I remember the doctor was like, yeah, you can go, but make sure you take these meds and, you know, make sure you eat or whatever. So whatever. But they changed the tournament for Evo for you know how every tournament is major is like, all right, you get down to the finals, the top 8, and then you go to the next day. No, instead this year they finished the whole tournament in the same day. So you start at 8 a.m., ends at 8 p.m. The whole tournament, all the way to grand finals 2. And I'm like, dude, I couldn't. I just, the stamina plus taking medication and you're sick and all that, it caught up to me. Maybe if I had that extra day to rest, things would have been different, but I didn't have that. I got 5th place, but then I still had to hear, oh, you're a fraud. Rio finally beat you. You see, like, Rio beat me when I was sick. Congratulations. But you couldn't do shit when I was like full healthy and all that stuff. You got cooked. Not only did you get cooked, I beat you off your best character. And then you try to pick my shit and you saw it ain't sweet like that. And you got cooked on that too. So it's like, dude, give me my props and move on. Stop being weird. And that was all of that. And then 2014 comes around, and that's when Injustice is just a main stage game. That's the only game at Evo. And players who only play MK9 was like, well, we're going to Evo too, but we still want to play MK. Let's host an MK tournament, a side tournament. And they announced that literally the week of Evo that year. So I just entered, you know, to you know, I was thinking it was going to be stupid again. I'm dumb for even thinking that because of what they've been acting like. And what's funny is the people hosting the tournament, as soon as it was eliminated, they decided they're not even going to be a part of the tournament or hosting anymore. So I took it upon myself to make sure, you know, MK had a final place to play. We had setups and all that stuff. So I'm organizing the final part of the tournament as well as like playing in it. And it's just like, you know, try to do that, see how it works out for you. But we ended up getting like a weird like monitor they had us playing on, but it was like one of those arcade board monitors, but it was like the screen was weird and so was the latency. But we played it out. After I lose, they're like, oh yeah, Sonic's the best now. You're a fraud, PL. So you lost to King too. But I'm like, dude, I lost to Forever King because I've not been playing Mortal Kombat. I wasn't even thinking about the loud mirror, so I forgot what I was going to do in the mirror or what I do in the mirror. But they were talking all this shit, so I was like, all right, let me pull my pants up and go to the next couple of Mortal Kombat 9 majors, since y'all are all entering them. And apparently, like, if you're entering it, you are signing up and saying that you're practicing the game, because that's how y'all treat me, right? So I go to Summer Jam, I go to the Fall Classic, and I go to KIT, and I win every tournament, and I beat everybody that had beat me previously. I beat Sonic, I put him in losers, and I eliminated him, and I beat him in grand finals. I beat Junior at every tournament, all those tournaments. He didn't go to KIT though. I beat 16. Well, did I play 16? No, I beat Dizzy. I beat King again in the loud mirror. I beat him off the loud mirror to where he picked Cyrax, and then I beat his Cyrax with Cabal. So it was like, all right, I finished the chapter, but no, I didn't get the same props as everybody else. So here's what they did in 2012. So even though Rio didn't win Evo that year, because he won MLG, Raleigh, Dallas, and NEC, they was like, no, he's the actual best player because of that. I'm like, all right, so if we were to, I don't agree with that at all, but if we were to use that criteria, then what about my criteria? What about me doing exactly that in 2014? Sonic wins the fake Evo, then I win the last 3 majors for the game before MKX comes out. So who's the best? Okay, then. So I got to hear the entire duration of the game's life, which is 5 years, by the way, that every win I win is fraudulent. But all these people have easier ways to practice than me. They can just go down the street and play with somebody. Everybody on the East Coast got good connections with each other and shit. Like, everybody is playing. Sonic and Junior practicing with each other. Rio and Junior and Sonic, everybody practicing with each other. It's just me playing with the experience that I have that's polished and all that, and just, you know, staying in practice. So it's like, dude, like constantly dealing with these narratives and all this stuff. And then the audience believe in it, which is so dumb. Then MKX comes out, and I ain't gonna lie, at Fatal 8, I was like, I do not like this game. I don't like how the way it was looking at first, before we played it, kind of hype because it's Mortal Kombat. When you play it, you're like, whoa, I don't like this. I don't like how offensive heavy it is, and the defense is whack. You got meter for backdash, meter for movement. Why is stamina for everything? Why do I need stamina to backdash? It was just dumb. And then you need stamina and meter to breaker. It's like crazy. And then the offensive pressure is so crazy. Overhead plus on block, low mix-ups, and these command grabs and all this other nonsense. It's just like, damn, this shit is stupid. So then, here's another part about the community just being dumb towards me. So Spooky himself was on his broadcast talking hella shit, saying Perfect Legend is dodging tournaments and scared to compete because, you know, he don't like to get exposed or some shit. I remember tuning in and listening to him saying something like that, and I was just like, what, are you serious? And their whole thing was, well, you're not going to these majors. Dude, first off, none of these majors are paying out anything, and all the people who are going to them are live on the East Coast. It's the same song and dance as MK9. It's like, haven't we went through this? But during this time, ESL was paying out weekly tournaments for their seasons. Why would you go to these tournaments where you barely break even, or don't break even, when I could stay at home, not pay a venue fee, not pay a hotel fee, not have to pay a flight fee or food and all that shit, and I could just play in these online tournaments? They were paying out $500 a week, by the way. 300 for first, 200 for second, 100 for wait. Actually, I'm wrong on that. I think it was actually 500 for first, 300 for second, 200 for third. I believe so, because like Yeah, like I got a lot from that because I qualified. You know what I'm saying? I actually won the online tournaments for that. To qualify, that's how you get to the ESL. You have to either win to qualify, or you place high enough consistently to get points to qualify, and they fly you out and everything. And they was paying out like 100K here and there. Why would you pass that up? It's like it's funny because like you know how I am about, oh, I'm not traveling unless this much money is online. They didn't say shit to the new players who all have the same mindset about going to any of these tournaments. It's always no one calls them Hollywood or nothing, but they was calling me Hollywood, saying I think I'm better than people just for being economically sound, I guess. But yeah, so you got all this built up of everybody saying I'm a duck dodger. I think I'm better than everybody as a person. I'm a bad person and all this other stuff, and everybody's running with it. So all this is built up and boiling in the pot, right? So then, also on top of that, I would say I'm not going to any of these tournaments because how poorly they were ran, equipment-wise was bad. How they would do brackets, they was really like biased. They would give people easy pools and shit, or easy brackets because they want somebody to do well or whatever. It's just a bunch of stuff like that I wasn't trying to deal with, and I would call it out. So they had an agenda to try to like discredit me. So then, I guess they can get more people to go to stuff. Something, I don't know. How would you think that they're looking at that? Regardless, I still showed up to that summer jam. I didn't even need to go to summer jam, by the way. I still showed up to that summer jam because after that Evo that Sonic won at MKX, somebody decided to be like, oh yeah, you can win with any character in the game, in Mortal Kombat or any fighting game. Tier lists don't matter. And you know, just as me saying that's bullshit. So I was challenging the guy, not challenging Sonic, challenging the guy that I was talking to's narrative, saying like, no, that's not true. You can't say that. And his whole thing was, oh, well, Sonic won MK with Katana, so that proves you wrong. And I'm like, no, Sonic won with Katana because one, duh, he's good. Two, because the character was super buffed. That character got a laundry list of buffs to make her good. And it's because they wanted a character to be able to fight Tanya because Tanya was so broken, and they took away Tanya's invincibility on her teleport, and then made it to where like if she jumps in the air, Katana's going to cook her with fans. That was a part of that, but they made her too powerful. They gave her a plus on block, infinite block string. 2-1 was so plus that Kung Lao couldn't poke out of it because he was an 8 framer, and she was like, I'm +2. I can now make one of my strongest moves faster than your fastest move and hit confirm into a combo with it. So, and not only can you not build meter, you can't challenge me up close in the frames. So they just like fucked up the matchup mathematically, despite the match was already a bad matchup in previous like classic MK games, because Katana can just throw fans. He can't, and her fan recovery is so fast, she could just run in and basically trade with the him throwing a hat toss and then doing whatever she wants to do. But basically, so anyway, Sonic got wind of that and was like, no, he thought that I was discrediting his win, so he challenged me to a match. I was like, look, I don't know why you want to play me in this match because Kung Lao loses it. Why don't you pick like Aaron Black or Cassie Cage or something, which is a more fair match? And we had a whole discussion on this on the On Blast show with James McKay, where I was like, all right, well, let's have these character locks and everything. He's like, well, don't get put in a matchup where a losing 7-3 matchup. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's what I'm trying to avoid. So pick like Aaron or Cassie instead. Instead, as you saw in the match, he picked Katana the whole way through. By the way, when we played, they made us play at like 11 o'clock at night. I thought we were going to play earlier, but I found out we wasn't because of how they scheduled my tournaments. So my tournaments, all of what I entered at that event, it was like DOA, Mortal Kombat, I want to say maybe Street Fighter. But they had all my tournaments scheduled at 8 o'clock p.m. So I had to run back from different rooms all to play a different game at the same time to tell some of the bracket runners, hey, don't disqualify me because all my games are at the same time. So I lose in all of them. I'm exhausted and stuff. Actually, I'm actually out of practice at this point because after ESL and Evolution, I didn't go home and like grind. I went to California because I was hired to be on this show, Legends of Gaming, where we basically like, you know what people do now, where they get a bunch of influencers to pair them up with some pros to learn the game so they compete against each other. We was doing that first. It's called Legends of Gaming. Look it up on YouTube. I'll probably link it in the description or something. But we was doing that during that time. I wasn't able to play any games like that or practice. Nubcakes came to my room and we played like a first to 5 in 2 weeks. I didn't, within 2 weeks. I didn't really get to play like that. So I'm coming back trying to get experience and practicing. The only person that will play me is Ninja CW, and another player, which is really integral to this whole thing. I was like, hey man, will you give me some games in with Katana? And he was like, no man, I can't. My internet is down. And I was like, all right, I'll pay your internet for a whole year. I mean, for a whole month if you give me games. He was like, no, I can't do that. I'm like, okay, all right, cool. By the way, this same person later down the road asked me for money to get him a flight to go home, which he paid me back for. But think about how, come on, man, like, come on. I'm still, that still rubbed me the wrong way just thinking about it. But and yeah, I helped him out. I'm such a terrible person, right, as they would say. But anyway, so everybody I find out is in cahoots with trying to make sure Sonic is on point for playing against me. Like Kevin Demand came out the woodwork randomly, like, yeah, you don't use Kung Lao. I've been playing. I'm like, so y'all been giving him practice and shit. Nobody would give me practice versus this at all. So I had like a week to prepare, basically. Not even a week, because when I got home, I had a couple of days to like pack and stuff, because I flew home, I think, on like a Tuesday or something, and I had to fly back out to Pennsylvania or Philly for the tournament. But anyway, all this is going on, and I'm like, all right, whatever. So I lose in all the tournaments, right? I get cooked. I'm just like not in practice or anything. I'm also kind of like, I don't know, maybe I don't want to say jet lag, because going from California to the East Coast ain't like that, but maybe there's something to do with the fatigue there or something. Regardless, I'm thinking it's over with, and I'm back in my room. I'm there with like Chris T, Julio, Brent. I think Slayer is there, and we're all hanging out and stuff. And I get a knock at my door. It's actually Emery Reigns. He's like, yeah, man, they're calling you up to play. And I'm like, damn, I didn't think we was going to play anymore, because like the tournament was over for me. I was thinking they're probably thinking he got his back blown out, so it's over for him. He's probably not going to play. And it's 11 o'clock. I didn't think they was going to have us play that late. So I was like, fuck it, I'll go play, get it over with. Then after that happened, and then when we sit down to play and I see he picks Katana, I'm like, okay, he's already on bullshit, because he knows how bad this match is. Like, this is not proving anything. And me, ignorant to everybody in the room, not knowing what we know, I'm thinking they already know that. And then after it's over, dude, I take my headphones off. People are banging on the stage and everything. They got signs like hating on me, talking shit or whatever. And then that's when Big E's like, yeah, here. Gives me, and I guess we're doing interviews. So I was like, yeah, I thought he was gonna pick Katana, but instead, pick Aaron Black or Cassie, but instead he picked Katana. I mean, like, I wanted to fight Aaron Black, but then Big E was like, all right, play for another $100, which, by the way, we had just play for $100 first to 10. And then Sonic is like, well, you can't pick Tempest Kung Lao. You got to pick Buzzsaw, because that's what you said on the podcast. I was like, word? Okay, all right. That's why I picked Buzzsaw and didn't pick Tempest. But at that point, the match, to me, I was already mentally checked out of even competing or playing anymore. As I told y'all, we was just like in the room chilling. I was in the room chilling, waiting to get called. I didn't know Emery was going to come to the room. Emery is just always a homie and always looking out for me and stuff. So like they was probably like looking for me. And he was like, oh, I'll check his room. So, but that's how that happened. But I saw everybody that I thought I was cool with at that time hating on me so much. And then now on top of that, like for a whole like week or two straight, I got nonstop notifications in my phone about that, and on everything too, not just Twitter, on every platform, on every. That's what the start of it was, and then soon after that, Razer dropped me because the guy who was working with them at the time was like, "Yeah, you can't be losing exhibitions, so we're going to have to, we're going to have to sign you at a smaller deal or just drop you." I'm like, okay, but it's funny because like Infiltration has just lost the first 10 to Daigo, 10-0. Shen just lost the first 10 to Daigo, 10-0, and we all were on Team Razer. But it's, I guess, because I was talking, right? I didn't really say nothing bad, but I mean, it's competitive nature, but they wouldn't be whacked. But yeah, like I was just, it was just funny to see how people were acting and stuff. But then like how they were painting these narratives and how they were driving these narratives and how much people were believing them and everything. And dude, it's like it's just me against the world. It felt like, because even I mean, there were people who would come to like bat, I guess, for me, or go up to bat, but like it wasn't significant enough, I guess. And like you had people like Tom who was silent most of the time. Like he did come on stage and do everything, but I think a lot of people were discouraged from trying to do anything because they cared so much about the backlash of the community. But I had to deal with that for years and still deal with like it and the aftermath of it. I mean, it's like whatever. Of course, it's going to get irritating and annoying, but you get numb to that stuff to where it doesn't even affect you as much or at all anymore. Because you also start to see how fragile other people are and how they probably would act in a situation like that. But yeah, it was funny. But then like after that, right, I was still winning tournaments. I was still winning tournaments at MKX. I still made the ESL chase season 2, ESL season 3 as well. I was still winning the online portion stuff, but people was like, we don't care, we're going to hold this over your head. Anything you did after this doesn't matter either. It's just like, dang, they finally found like something they feel like they can stick and then hold it on me. And then all these people start making documentaries about it, and those people get a fan base for shitting on me, and it's crazy. But this whole time has basically been like me versus the scene in a way. Because even with like DOA, like I told you, they shitted on that the game, discredited that game, looked the other way when I was playing Street Fighter. So it's just like, whatever, man, I don't care no more. I'm just playing what I like to play, and the games that present like the best opportunities and stuff, because it's just like whatever, man. And then you see how like certain people turn their back on you, like different stuff, going through different stuff. Like it's just weird and disappointing. But I know I never mean no harm. Everything that I do is just within the realm of competitive. I'm not calling nobody out their name and shit. That shit's hella dumb. It's always within the game with me. But that's pretty much how the scene has been with me. I mean, like, there's definitely been more stuff, like more streaming things, opportunities from there, playing different games that have come out. It's been great. Like playing Fatal Fury has been awesome. And if a new DOA comes out, I'll definitely return it and play that game, even if it's just for fun, and see what's up. 6 I think looks great, but I don't like the stages. That's my biggest gripe, outside of not having Genfu and Iron and stuff in the game, because they're part of my character rotation. So like they take characters out of your character rotation, the game's not as enjoyable, because then it's like all I got now to pick is Janley, Hayate, Helena, Bass. I've been using Elliot a little bit more just to learn them. The Elliot in 6. I mean, I knew how to use Elliot in other games, but like in 6, know how to use him. Just like his Genfu stuff is cool. But yeah, it's just pretty whack, man, how people keep trying to like paint narratives, be like, oh yeah, you're a bad person. Like, dude, you're the bad person. Look at how you be acting. Look how you treat your friends. Look at all the diabolical bullshit that you be doing. Like, I'm pretty sure God's looking at you like, yeah, you was lying on that dude and trying to make him look bad for no reason. But yeah, I just want to give y'all some history, a little bit of what I've been going through, or what I've gone through playing fighting games and stuff. But as y'all see, I'm still here. I ain't going nowhere. You have to do a lot more than that to get me to go away. But I'm still here teaching people, helping people get good, and also helping myself get good, be good at the new games, because it's just fun. I love playing, and I don't see myself ever stop playing or streaming or doing content and stuff, because I genuinely enjoy doing this stuff. Like, as I told y'all, when I first came into the scene, I was just like being around people and running tournaments and stuff, providing that experience so we can enjoy the games together. But yeah, man, hopefully see you guys in some more videos and some more streams and stuff. If you ever want to get some games in, anything, or you just want questions, retrospect about different things in the past, some stuff that you might want to get some more clarity on, feel free to hit me up. I'm always down, always live from noon to like 8 p.m. Those are my hours, noon to 8 p.m. After 8, I'm going to sleep. I'm getting ready to go to sleep. Need that 8 hours rest. But yeah, y'all, appreciate you guys for listening, the ones that do listen and pull up. And yeah, leave a like and share this with your friends, because you don't want just anybody telling your story. And if you're inspired to make your own video about different stuff you have history with, go ahead and do that. It's definitely will do you pretty good. All right, y'all, have a good one. God bless.